correct me, Tony, and just a lot of lighting needs replaced and redirected on the baseball field. And this is something that's not new to y'all. You all know this, but I just want to thank everybody for coming out. I know there were some that couldn't. That's okay, but just hopefully we're able to resolve this problem. So.
No, I talked to Mr. Childs about it this morning, and I think they got an idea about what to do. With the RU going to help out. So, you got anything else, Ms. Humphries?
No.
We're going to come Thursday,
Ms. Wright?
and Thursday evening to try to reposition some of the lights, and I'll let y'all get back to it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chase. Ms. Wright, do you have anything?
Just two things. Something I wasn't able to do last month that I wanted to do this month is congratulate our city manager for winning the Keep Tennessee River Beautiful Ripple Effect Award for conservation. So round of applause for him. It's a great award and greatly deserved. The second thing is Roane County received Tennessee Riverline's 2020 Community Partner of the Year Award. So I just wanted to recognize Roane County and the city manager for all those efforts. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Mr. Griffiths, do you have anything?
Well, then I have a report. Got an email from Barbara, and the library board meeting for this month has been canceled.
Okay. Mr. Brown?
The 911 is a lengthy report. I'll let you read it on your own. It's in your packet. Second thing, I just want to give a shout out to David and make sure that you tell them, to Chief Gordon and to Tim Clark's folks. We'd had several complaints about litter throughout the Galhar Road area. Well, we contacted the state, and it just so happened that their contractors who pick up litter were in the county. With Tim's people and Willie's people and my people, they got on the interstate, picked up around the exit at Galhar Road and all the way to the Oak Ridge city limits. And I know that our firemen sometimes need something to do. Not that they don't have anything to do, but if I had sat in that firehouse all the time, just waiting on something to happen. So they agreed to come out and with the lights and stuff to help the people. But the state contractor picked up all Galhar Road all the way to Oak Ridge city limits, and the county did part of 70. So hopefully it was a mess, but you won't be able to tell it probably next week sometimes. But a shout out to Tim's people and to Willie Gordon and the fireman, David.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brown. Ms. Stockton, standing next to a bridge, and I don't know where you're at. Do you have anything, Ms. Stockton?
I only wanted to, our two meetings of the beautification kind of merged together because of quorum, but on the minutes that we'll approve next month, the second and the third Friday of March, we're planning on help days at the Bethel Cemetery. That will start at 10 a.m. And we've got a lot of projects that we're doing just to kind of do improvements to help that cemetery. That's a historical site that is unfortunately been kind of neglected, probably just out of sight, out of mind, unless you had a reason to be at the cemetery. So we wanted to put some extra attention there. So, but we definitely appreciate all the help on the litter pickup, because that is a ongoing process, being able to pick up the litter. So that was really good work from the city and the state and the county as well. So that was it.
Thank you. Mr. Childs, do you have anything?
I'm just going to touch on what Councilman Brown and they were talking about the litter. Had got several complaints on it also, and it looked like one of the newspaper companies had lost a couple bundles there when you got on at Galhar Road. Come through, and I've had 2 or 3 people that's already come and commented on how good it looked. Again, there a special thank you to Councilman Brown getting the people on that, and Willie and the fire department. They did a really good job. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Bowling, City Manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. In addition to my written report, first I want to just echo what Councilman Child said. Want to thank everybody involved in the litter pickup. Those guys did a great job. This wasn't an organized event. This was something that we got some feedback that needed to happen, and it was originally, the intent was to try to get some inmate help to do that, and whether some other reasons kept us from being able to do that, and those guys stepped up on their own and went out and did that, and it wasn't something they were forced to do. They did that on their own initiative, and really appreciate it. Proud of their hard work on it. Like Councilmember Stockton said, it's an ongoing battle, but they sure made a dent in it, and we're proud of them for what they did. You may have seen an email yesterday. Chase and I had a virtual meeting with ORNL Federal Credit Union to discuss the proposed concert series. Obviously, it wasn't able to happen last year. We were still optimistic that it can this year, but they are interested. They continue to want to make this happen, to host it in Kingston. But understandably, they're concerned about the effects of COVID and whether or not they can do it safely. So we're going to stay in touch with them. Going to keep working and making sure that those channels of communication stay open. But honestly, not very optimistic that we're going to be able to see that in 2021. So we're going to follow up in a couple of months and see where things stand. But may not happen this year, but we're all committed to making sure it will happen. And I'm very appreciative of them for staying on board. Earlier today, I sent out an email. It looks like the city is going to be eligible for an additional $161,000 in COVID relief funding. We're going to be getting more information on that closer to summer, but it looks like these funds should be available in August. Unlike previous funds, it's not going to be a direct appropriation. I think it's going to be something that we'll have to apply for, and then we'll get the funding based on qualified projects. There was a pretty extensive list of things that these one-time projects that these funds can apply toward. So we'll have some time to talk about it between now and then, but you all may want to be thinking about it as we get a little closer to budget, what we may be able to use those funds for. So certainly good news and much appreciated relief. Finally, I know some of you talked about it. I know you've got complaints about it, about the traffic, some of the traffic lights in town. We keep getting questions about the timing, why the delays are as bad as they are. We did have them looked at, as you know, had them adjusted as much as we felt like they could realistically be. When you run them off timers, it's difficult because you have to be careful about changing them too much, and then you throw everything off system-wide. Our goal, and really I think the more permanent fix, is to rely more on traffic flow and less on timing. As I may have told you, we have applied for a traffic signal modernization grant that would be up to $250,000 with no local match. Those applications were due in December. We haven't heard yet when the announcements will be made, but our intent, if we get funding, is to start putting camera systems in to control our intersections. We wouldn't be able to do them all at one time, I doubt, but anywhere would be a start. And I think that's the permanent solution that we need. And just wanted to say, we appreciate everybody's patience and just let people know that we are working on that. We're trying to come up with a permanent solution of what we know is an aggravating problem. So that's all I have, Mayor, unless you have any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for the city manager? All right, seeing none, we'll go into item number 7. Addition of items to the meeting agenda received after the close of the agenda deadline, and did not receive any of those. So number 8 is unfinished business. Consideration to approve the second reading of ordinance 21-1201, an ordinance establishing policies and procedures for the water department. Is there a motion to pass this on second reading?
I would move that we pass it as amended.
Have a motion by Mr. Brown to approve as amended. Is there
A second.
Ms. Stockton, go ahead.
Oh, I said a second.
right, there's a motion and a second. So there's a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on that?
Just the amendments, Mr. Mayor. You know, we added that one about the outside sewer that wasn't in the original one. And then we changed the wording. Kelly changed it to reflect the reorganization so that we can tell when they're added, when they're not, and subtitled. And I just think it'll make it easier to go through. I would urge that we adopt it.
Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Griffiths,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Humphries,
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Under new business, item A is consideration to select either path or train to conduct a no-cost, no-obligation comprehensive energy efficient audit for the city of Kingston, and to authorize the city manager to enter into the agreement with selected company for performance of the said audit. Do I have a motion to put this on the floor?
I'll make a motion to put it on the floor.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Griffith, second by Mr. Childs. Do you have anything, Mr. Griffiths, before I go to the city attorney?
No, just, I'm good with either one, but I think we need to move forward with this.
Mr. Childs, do you have anything?
Mr. Mayor, I talked to the city today and the city manager about putting it on the floor to put both of them, path and train, to go through like a roll call vote. You would either say for path or train, and they just go down the row and ask. And I guess you could probably have no one there too, but I don't know exactly how to raise that up to put it on the floor.
Mr. Attorney, can you help us out just a second?
Mayor, it is, of course, the way that it has been put on the floor. You announced that the consideration to authorize the entry into a contract with either of these, and of course that's the next step. No matter what you all choose, you can choose to choose one or the other of the contractors, or you can choose not to go forward. But once you do that, you're still going to be in the spot of, okay, if you choose one or the other of the contractors by majority vote, then what you're actually voting to do is to authorize the mayor and the city manager to come up with a contract so that you all can vote on it perhaps at the next meeting after the contract has been formalized.
Okay. So are there any questions or comments? Ms. Humphries?
No, I just agree with Councilmember Griffiths that we need to just move forward and decide what we're going to do. We've kind of been talking about it a long time now. And I just agree we need to make some decisions.
Ms. Wright, do you have anything?
I do not.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Ms. Stockton?
No, I don't.
Madam Clerk, you will call the roll, and then the member will either choose path or train. Will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Brown,
Train.
Councilmember Childs,
Train.
Councilmember Griffiths,
Train.
Vice Mayor Humphries,
Train.
Councilmember Stockton,
Train.
Councilmember Wright,
Path.
Mayor Neal.
Train.
6 votes for train and 1 for path.
So now city manager will work with the train representatives to put a contract together, and possibly we can have that by next month maybe, and see if we can get this rolling a little bit closer. All right, item B
We will.
is consideration. Oops, sorry, Mr. Bowling. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say I'll certainly be working with the city attorney as well on this to make sure that what we bring you is meets all the needs you have talked about throughout the process, and I'll share with you guys what we have as we get it. So.
Thank you, sir. All right, item B is consideration to authorize the mayor to enter into a contract with Michael Brady Incorporated for design, engineering, and bid-related services for the community center roof at an amount not to exceed $32,000. Is there a motion to enter into this contract?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Stockton. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Childs. Ms. Stockton, do you have anything?
The only thing, just after phone calls this week, and I was debating on whether or not if this was the right decision, but at this point, just speaking with the ones that had already looked at patching, and I think we're way past that step. So we just don't want to go into this blind, seeing the two estimates that we received were so different. We just don't know what the estimates are going to be for. So I think this is something that is pretty much a have to.
Mr. Childs?
I'd just rather see it be an asset than a liability. That's all I have.
Any other council members?
I'm assuming with the passage of this that the $32,000 will come out of the fund balance, and Michelle will get us a line item for it, I would assume, with a budget amendment.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, we can certainly take it wherever you want it to. My recommendation was that we take it out of the 300 fund, out of the capital fund. But if you would rather us not take it out of there and take it out of 110, we can certainly look to do that. But if you don't have any objections, would prefer to pay it out of the capital fund expense.
Are there any objections?
And how much does that capital have in it?
I don't have a balance sheet in front of me. Michelle might with a 3.
It's actually about
some
I'll tell you
thousand.
exactly. 300 and let's see.
12 maybe.
Sorry, it's 308,000 right now.
And our commitments that we had talked about putting in the capitals, what would that do to those? I'm assuming that's the boat ramp and stuff out at Lead Landing.
We have the only thing that's committed per se in there. We obviously the $100,000 that was set aside for Ladd Park improvements, and we have money set aside to the tune of $48,000 for the city's matching portion of the STP project to resurface Ladd Boulevard when that gets ready. The other bulk of that money is the first round of COVID money, the $158,000 I think ballpark that we got. So which you all voted to put in the 300 fund. It's not committed to anything, so it would deduct from that if you're okay with that. I just think that's the easiest way to do it, considering that we're mid budget year.
Mr. Boland, we also have about 83,000 from the CARES Act money that we received that we have not moved to the capital fund yet because we were waiting to do an amendment for that.
So it looks like we've got money there in that fund to take care of this.
Mhm.
No other questions or comments? Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Griffiths,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Humphries,
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal. 7 ayes.
Item C is consideration of resolution 21020901, a resolution authorizing the purchase credit card certificate. I think we talked about these last week, and I know that the financial group is on board with this and would like to see us do this. Do we hear a motion to pass this resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Wright, second by Ms. Humphries. Ms. Wright, do you have anything to add?
I do not.
Ms. Humphries?
No.
Anyone else on council? Madam Clerk, call a roll on the P cards, please.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Griffiths,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Humphries,
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal. 7 ayes.
Item D is consideration to authorize the mayor to execute an easement agreement with Old Capital Town LLC regarding the future utility easements and liability for 615 North Kentucky Street. Do we here have a motion to allow me to authorize the agreement?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Wright, second by Ms. Stockton. Ms. Wright, do you have anything to add?
No, that this is just a necessary step in development of that property.
Ms. Stockton?
No, I do not.
Anyone else on council?
No.
Madam Clerk, call a roll on the agreement with Old Capital Town LLC.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Griffiths,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Humphries,
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
That is the end of the agenda. This city council meeting is adjourned. Now we'll go straight into the regular meeting of the Kingston Beer Board. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll for the Beer Board, please?
Member Brown,
Present.
Member Childs,
Present.
Member Griffiths,
Present.
Vice Chair Humphries,
Present.
Member Stockton,
Present.
Member Wright,
Present.
Chairman Neal.
Present. Do you hear a motion to approve the previous minutes as written?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. But I know there's not any correction or deletions. So Madam Clerk, call the roll on the minutes, please.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Griffiths,
Yes.
Vice Chair Humphries,
Yes.
Member Stockton,
Yes.
Member Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
We have one item to consider. That is consideration of an application for an on-premise beer permit for Maple Creek Bistro at 1000 Lad Landing Boulevard. number 120 Kingston. Do I hear a motion to approve this beer permit?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Wright, second by Mr. Childs. So I'm reading some of the stuff that does anyone have any questions on this beer permit?
Just one or two. Is this a true LLC? Does it have partners?
I'll have to refer to Ms. Hoff on that.
Yes, I'm the only member.
Okay. And the only other thing, if I'm not mistaken, and which it won't make any difference, I don't think, under number 16, the nearest school to the business is Selway instead of Calvary Baptist.
Yeah, behind the insurance.
That's correct.
AGA, right?
That's what
Yeah,
stopped the liquor store once before, if you remember. Or not saying that this is a liquor store, but that stopped a permit from being issued because nobody knew that that school was there.
Right. And it's well outside the 500-foot boundary. If there's no other questions about this beer permit, Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Griffiths,
Yes.
Vice Chair Humphreys,
Yes.
Member Stockton,
Yes.
Member Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Welcome.
All right. Ms. Haba, can you give us a quick synopsis of what your plans are for this Maple Creek Bistro?
I can. I have to say, Roane County's been really good to us. So we have the barn at Maple Creek, which, is on Galahar Road. And we had 51 events in 5 months. So through COVID, who would have thought, and we're booking about 38 to 50 rooms every weekend in Harriman. We are bringing people from Pennsylvania, Oregon, Ohio. So what we've kind of overbooked ourselves at the barn, and these people are flying in and they want somewhere to go and eat and enjoy their evening. Most of our clients fly in on Wednesday and Thursday. So we've been sending them, to Los Primos and Cadillac Grill and Old Capitol. And this opportunity, Alan Garrison at Old Capitol presented it to me, and it just really made sense for us to kind of tie this into the barn at Maple Creek and be able to have an avenue for, people coming into our community to go somewhere and have a really nice dinner and a nice lunch. And so we have a vision. We actually took the third section that used to be the barber shop, and we're going to have an outdoor patio area with a burn pit. And once I got through this process tonight, I'm already applied for the liquor license too. So we will have beer and we will have the liquor, of course, but we're doing a lot of leather couches, more lounge in that third section in the patio area, with the bar area in the center. And then the other section to the right is for more people that want to have a rehearsal dinner, to be with their families. And we're knocking out walls to make it one big open space. So it's going to be more open than just 3 sections. And we're just really excited. We're excited about it. It's been a the long-term goal was to do this, but we were going to build a place out there off of Galahar and build, a restaurant right there on our facility. But then when this came up, it just made sense to do this for Kingston. We needed it, and for Roane County. So we're just blessed to live here and have what we have. So, and we cannot believe how good everybody's been to us. I can't say thank you enough for the county and for the city. Everybody has just been a tremendous help and a huge helping for the barn to be successful. And now I hope this can be just channeled into that. So we're excited. So
when is your expected open date?
We actually just took possession on Tuesday, and we're really trying to get this thing open at the end of March. So I know. So it's pending the liquor license. With liquor, it's a little bit different. You have to have all your seating into place. So they have to come in and count the chairs. So that might be the little holdup. But construction wise, we've been there since Tuesday. We get there at 6 a.m. and my kids, I don't know if you guys know much about us, but we built the barn at Maple Creek, just the four of us. It was my son, who is 20, my daughter that's 18, and my husband and I. The only thing we hired out was the concrete. So if you would have drove by Food City today, you would have seen me out power washing the sidewalks and power washing the brick and making it look really good. So, but yeah, the four of us have been there till about 1 or 2 in the morning since this past Tuesday. And my daughter's playing soccer at UT. She's driving down every night, helping. My son's going to Tennessee Tech. He's driving down every night, commuting from his apartment. So we're hoping 2 months, worst case 3 months if the liquor license doesn't go through. But we're excited, and we hope you guys will come and visit us once we open the doors. So,
well, thank you, and good luck. Nothing else on the beer board agenda tonight. So that meeting is adjourned, and we'll go straight into the regular meeting of the Kingston Water Board. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll for the Water Board?
Member Brown.
Present.
Member Childs.
Present.
Member Griffiths.
Present.
Vice Chair Humphreys.
Present.
Member Stockton.
Present.
Member Wright.
Present.
Chairman Neal.
Present. Do you hear a motion to approve the previous minutes as written?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Humphries and a second by Ms. Wright. Are there any corrections or deletions to the minutes?
No, sir.
No.
Madam Clerk, call the roll on the previous minutes.
Member Brown.
Yes.
Member Childs.
Yes.
Member Griffiths.
Yes.
Vice Chair Humphreys.
Yes.
Member Stockton.
Yes.
Member Wright.
Yes.
Chairman Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Do we have any citizens that would wish to address the Water Board tonight? I don't see any. So now I'm going to go into the Utility Director's report, Mr. Foley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In addition to my written report, just a couple of quick things. One, you may have seen the news story this morning out of Florida about the computer hacker who attempted to increase the amount of sodium hydroxide in the town's water supply. I think it was somewhere around Tampa. And fortunately, they caught it and were able to stop it. But it did cause quite an alarm. And I've had a couple calls about it. People wondering today if something like that could happen here. Obviously, I don't want to go into detail about our security protocols, but I do want to assure you that this specific type of attack could not happen here. Our chemical feed is not accessible to external control. In fact, that sort of thing has to be adjusted manually. So we have done a lot of work, made a lot of progress with SCADA, some of the other technological improvements that we've put in place, but we've done so and continue to do so with security and potential vulnerability in mind. So we are working toward the future, but we're also being careful. So I just wanted to throw that out to ease people's mind. And just something else real quick, since he's on the call and in front of the board, we have Kevin on here. I know that you all have passed the water policies. He was certainly a big part of that with several other folks, but you know, a lot of stuff that doesn't come before you, just day-to-day operations. But I just want to brag on Kevin for a second. Since he's been in that role, the way he's been proactive and some of the ideas he's brought to the table, he's doing a great job. And I just wanted to to brag on him for just a second in this with this opportunity. So, Kevin, great job, and that's all I have. Unless you have any questions.
Are there any questions for the utility director? I'm not seeing any. There is no new business for the water board tonight. Is there anything to come for the water board? No hands raised. This meeting's adjourned. Before we get off here, Mr. Brown or Mr. McPherson or Mr. Bowling, do we have any idea when, how much longer we're going to have to go with Zoom or when we can meet in person?
I think it runs through maybe March. The county commission had a Zoom meeting last night, and they voted to go back live. City of Rockwood voted to go back live. They opened their city hall up today for the first time.
Okay. We may give it one more month, unless anybody's got any objections. Okay. We'll get together on that for our next work session. All right. Guys, have a good week.
Minutes to call in. So if you have any last minute calls, hopefully we can squeeze you in before the end. So yeah, because I'm going to have to start doing my very long goodbye speech I do at the end of every show where I'm just like, I love you so much. Thank you for listening. You guys are great. I hope you have a great day. So it's, stuff like that. Just going on and on. Again, if you just tuned in, we're leaving a little bit early because we want to get to the basketball game. And, slow news day. Tonight's password is Three Sisters Produce and More. I don't know why I've been singing so much today. Actually, it's not even all of today. It was just during this show. I just decided to get all sing-songy.
All right, we'll call this meeting to order. If Commissioner Hickman could lead us in prayer, open up. See there.
All right, let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you, God, for all your many wonderful blessings. We thank you for this gathering, God. In the midst of this pandemic, Father God, in the midst of sickness, you allowed this venue, Father God, this outlet of Zoom call to conduct the business of the county, Father. God, just remind us of the citizens that we represent. Let us just represent them in their best interest, Father. Father God, as Commissioner Berry's on tonight, Father God, we thank you for your healing power. And Father God, not only are you a healer, but you're a comforter. Comfort the Hooks family, Father God. Let them know, God, for the believer, death is nothing more than a sweet transition from earth to glory, Father. Bless us, God, in this meeting. Keep us in your care. We'll be so careful to give your name the praise, honor, and the glory. It is in Christ Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
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 Let's see. Get Ben Wilson. You lead us in the pledge tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll.
Barry?
Present. Bell.
Bell, sorry. Barry?
Barry, present.
Brashears?
Yes.
Cunningham?
Cunningham, present.
East?
East, present.
Ellis?
Ellis, present.
Gann?
Gann, present.
Hendrickson?
Hendrickson, present.
Hester?
Hester, present.
Hickman?
Hickman, present.
Hooks? Meadows?
Meadows, present.
Moore?
Moore, present.
White?
White, present.
Wilson?
Wilson, present.
14 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. Moving on again, if you could, last month it worked so easy. If you want to make a motion, say your name and say motion, and when it's a second, say your name and say second. So we have, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the January 11th meeting?
Meadows, motion.
Motion by Meadows.
Hickman, second.
White, second.
Second by Hickman. Mr. Meadows.
Nothing to add.
Mr. Hickman.
Nothing further, sir.
Any more questions or comments? Approval of minutes of the January 11th meeting? Not, Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Bell?
Bell, aye.
Barry?
Barry, aye.
Brashears?
Shears, yes.
Cunningham?
Cunningham, yes.
East?
East, yes.
Ellis?
Ellis, yes.
Gann?
Gann, yes.
Hendrickson?
Hendrickson, yes.
Hester?
Hester, yes.
Hickman?
Hickman, aye.
Meadows?
Meadows, yes.
Moore?
Moore, yes.
White?
White, yes.
Wilson?
Wilson, yes.
14 yes.
So we've approved the minutes of the January 11th, 2021 meeting. Now, do I got a motion to accept the committee reports and correspondence?
Barry, motion. Gann, second.
Barry on the first and Gann on the second. Mr. Barry.
Yes, on report number 8, just wanted to make you aware of the Sports Recreation Committee's work on several of the projects that we've got going on right now. And in this report, it details a lot of the things we talked about at our last meeting concerning Wiley Creek and the campground, the old campground that we're working on now. So just wanted to advise you that there's a lot going on. One of the problems that we're having, Mr. Woody, is with our Citizens Advisory Board. We're having a hard time getting any of those folks out. And I notice we've got another grant coming up tonight in recreation. So we might need to check with those folks and just see if they really are willing to continue serving on our advisory board. Also on number 9, the TASER report. This was a lot of, I guess, some shattering information to some degree in that it's talking about the county's needs. And I think in particular, if you looked on page 2 there, that we were 31st in total population. I'm not sure when this report was gathered, but we probably are higher now because of we probably don't have 53. 58th in population change between 2000 and 2019, 71st in population growth rate since 2000, 24th in population density, 24th in total estimated infrastructure. And I guess all of that comes from the state. Is that right, Mr. Woody?
No, some of that comes from the counties. Some of it comes from our school system. Some of it comes from TDOT. And some of it, I haven't seen it, but I'm just wondering if some of it comes from higher education.
So I was going to say some of it must come from the schools because it said 5.9% of our school buildings are less than good overall. and that we have estimated $21.1 million just to bring them up to good or better. So there must be some information coming from there as well. But just a good report, and one that
What do I hear?
We probably need to pay some attention to. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have.
Any more questions or comments on acceptance of committee reports and correspondence?
This whole row, I can see everybody.
If not, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Bell,
Bell, aye.
Barry,
Barry, yes.
Brashears,
Yes, Brashears.
Cunningham,
Cunningham, yes.
East,
East, yes.
Ellis,
Ellis, yes.
Gann,
Gann, yes.
Hendrickson,
Hendrickson, yes.
Hester,
Hester, yes.
Hickman,
Hickman, aye.
Meadows,
Who? No. Meadows.
Meadows, yes.
Moore,
Moore, aye. Next.
White,
White, yes.
Wilson,
Wilson, yes.
14 yes.
Committee reports and correspondence have been approved.
Okay, God,
Do we have any notaries?
We have 18 notaries. We have Megan Bales, Haley Calloway, Cynthia M. Chapman, Lori Ann Cool, K.W. Drury, Tammy R. Edwards, Suzanne Fisher, Jessica Fox, Rachel France, Allison Michelle Ledford, Molly R. Nim, Judith K. Oren, Jessica Reimer, Elizabeth Faye Sterrett, Catherine Nicole Tedder, Penny Ann Thacker, Crystal Walker, and Rebecca A. Wright.
Hendrickson, motion.
Motion by Hendrickson.
White, second.
Meadows second by Meadows. Mr. Hendrickson.
Just appreciate your willingness to serve.
Mr. Meadows.
I concur with Commissioner Hendrickson.
Any other questions or comments on the notaries? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Bell,
Bell, aye.
Barry,
Barry, aye.
Brashears,
Brashears, yes.
Cunningham,
Cunningham, yes.
East,
East, yes.
Ellis,
Ellis, yes.
Gann,
Gann, yes.
Hendrickson,
Hendrickson, yes.
Hester,
Hester, yes.
Hickman,
Aye.
Meadows,
Meadows, yes.
Moore,
Moore, yes.
White,
White, yes.
Wilson,
Wilson, yes.
14 yes.
Notaries have been elected. Now to county attorney's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've lost 2 more court dates because court has been canceled through March 31st, so we're not progressing any on our property maintenance cases. You have 2 resolutions before you tonight. One is one I filed, 22104. That pertains to the mini pumper truck that I talked about a little bit last meeting. But that was a truck that the county purchased about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago from for the emergency services department. And the truck was supposed to pump water for fire suppression. It never has worked. And it doesn't appear that the warranty is in place. It appears that the warranty may have expired. When I started looking into this, I found some bid summary documents that indicated that parts of the truck would be covered by a 5-year warranty. We've made a warranty claim. We've gotten no response. And in further investigation, it appears to me that all we had was a 1-year warranty. So what this resolution does, if you pass it, it authorizes me to file a suit against the company that built the truck, HME, and the sales, their sales representative, M3 Fire Apparatus, to rescind this purchase agreement, give them back the truck, and try to get our investment back if we win. And this is based upon the fact that in their bid documents and in their advertisements, they made certain representations about how this truck would perform, and the truck has not lived up to these representations. In these particular cases, you either sue to rescind the contract, or you sue for breach of contract and seek repair cost. I feel like our strongest suit is to sue to rescind the contract based on these misrepresentations, because the contract documents indicate that the only avenue we would have to get repair costs would be if we had a valid warranty in effect. So I'm asking the commission to pass this resolution to allow me to file a suit to rescind the contract and get our money back if the court will allow us to do that. You also have another resolution tonight concerning a lawsuit 22105. That resolution would allow the county to join in a suit against 3 pharmaceutical companies concerning the opioid crisis. Basically, what happened in this suit, 7 attorney generals through our state filed a suit against 3 companies on behalf of the cities and counties that they represented for civil damages under the Drug Dealer Liability Act. The Drug Dealer Liability Act is a state statute that allows individuals and governments to sue civilly to recover costs because of the illegal distribution of drugs. In December, our Tennessee Supreme Court ruled that these pharmaceutical companies can be sued for civil damages under this Drug Dealer Liability Act because of the opioid crisis. But the Supreme Court also ruled that these attorney generals did not have the authority to file the suit on behalf of the counties and cities that they represented. So, because the attorney generals cannot file the suit, the counties and the cities now have to decide whether they want to join in the suit. These attorney generals hired a law firm in Nashville, the Branstetter firm, to represent them in this suit. And what the Branstetter firm is asking is that the county join in the suit in place of our attorney general because he can't bring the suit. And you also have, I think it's correspondence 9, it was a proposed contract between the Branstetter law firm and Roane County. And it's not going to cost us anything to join in this suit. They're not requesting any money up front. They're not requesting that we pay anything toward litigation expenses. So I would recommend that we join in this if we feel like we can prove damages associated with dealing with these opioid issues. And Mr. Chairman, that is the extent of my report.
Any questions for the county attorney?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Berry.
Mr. Nephew, so as I read this, they're only collecting fees if they collect money via the suit that they have going.
That's what the contract states.
So there's no way to change. There's nothing to change as this goes forward. Then that we would be obligated to pay anything.
I don't see that we would be obligated to pay anything, no.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mr. Lefevue,
Yes, sir.
regarding the fire truck, what court would that be filed in?
I'm filing it in Chancery Court in Roane County.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Lefevue? Thank you, Mr. Lefevue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
An executive's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll try to be brief on this. Regarding the park correspondent number 8, Mr. Berry alluded to, TVA reached out to me probably a week later, and we tried to get a Zoom call, but we could not all get together on the parties. I think they wanted to discuss Riley Creek. And I guess at this juncture, I will have that meeting with them if they have it, but I will tell them, and I've told them before, because we met before Christmas, the commission will have to make a decision on the path forward. Hopefully I can gather enough information from TVA on some of our options to bring it before you all in case you all want to change directions or what kind of investment we think we can get from TVA and various things. I'm not so sure what it was about, but I'm assuming it was Riley Creek. There's a lot of things going on in the TVA world now. You probably heard something in the news about the old Clinch River breeder reactor site and how that is being permitted or reevaluated, and part of it's approved. So there's a lot of things going on in TVA. There was an announcement last week from Governor Bill Lee, Jeff Flash with TVA, the commissioners of TDOT and TDEC, along with some managers of the largest public utilities in Tennessee that I don't know whether y'all saw it or not, but the state is using some of the Volkswagen fine money of emissions to electrify Tennessee with high-speed charging machines. So as Tennessee is probably the second largest manufacturers of vehicles, and as GM, I think their announcement was by 2030 that they'll be making only EV vehicles. So you're going to see a lot of investment that's taking place. I'm not sure what the TVA call was, but I think it was Park and Rec in that case. Correspondence number 9, Mr. Berry's already mentioned it. TASER, Tennessee Advisory Commission on Intergovernmental Relationship. It is a board that reports to the General Assembly, various things from education, funding, and they started in the 90s to do this infrastructure needs survey that is prepared a lot by our development districts, and then we put together as some on our budget committee and our capital book that we publish every year. That's kind of where we start on some of the big concept ideas, the ones that's been on our plate that we have taken off in next year. So our numbers are going to change already. What was on there before was a jail, and that will come off of our list for the next 5 years. What was also on there on the previous one was a school system, and one of the schools, Oliver Springs, is in construction now, so that one will come off. And then so that data comes from a lot of sources, and part of that is the Department of Transportation also. So just a couple of things on that. Correspondence number 16 was a email from the Roane County News regarding public notices, and I don't know whether y'all can see this or not. We will file this in the next packet, but here will be how we will start publishing our next public notices. We'll do those once a month for all the committees that can pre-plan, and we would like for you to contact Amber in my office at least the Friday before the first Thursday. And we think we can get most of all of our public notices in this one notice. We recognize that periodically meetings come up. We'll have to pay additional for those. But if we can kind of schedule our commission, I mentioned it a little bit last month, and just wanted to bring it to your attention again. Other than that, that's all I have to report. We have a couple of resolutions that if you have any questions, be glad to share those with you.
Moore for the county executive.
Go ahead, Mr. Moore.
Ron, what is the cost of those ads? You may have said that last month, but I didn't. I'm just curious.
Well, what you had is we were running our committees just under community advertisement, which was no charge.
Oh, okay.
So they went away from that, and we have to annually publish at least when our commission meeting was going to be had. What we thought we would do is these meetings that we know are going to be on there, we'll still publish those every month. This new ad is about $110 a month.
Okay. I didn't know if we were paying individually before.
We weren't, but we're going to have to. But this one, I think the public will be able to see this more pronouncedly, and then they'll be able to attend our meetings if they want to. But we sat down with them to come up with this kind of design so people could see it and participate if they so chose.
Very good. Thank you. I'm just curious there. Thank you.
Any more questions for the county executive?
Mr. Woody, on the report that we got from the where Harrison's was did not have to pay personal, how much does that affect us?
Well, Connie and I looked at that right before what that one meant, and in council, you may want to look at that one. That's correspondence number 17 on page 96 of the main agenda. This came out of, and we think that the courts have ruled this one wrong, but whatever the court rules will stand, and then it's been an appeal. The way I read that is Harrison is a contractor at Oak Ridge. We have a lot of contractors in Oak Ridge. There's a lot of contractors across the state of Tennessee that work on government property. And what Harrison was alleging is that we do not have to pay personal property for our trucks that's on the federal government property. We don't have to pay taxes on the concrete plant that's there. Even though they recognize it is owned by Harrison's, once the job's finished, they get to take their equipment with them. Anyway, the question was that Harrison said is we're not a taxable entity because we do work exclusively for the government. Well, quite frankly, if that were to be upheld through all the process, I think it'd be a significant hit to our property tax, significant property tax increase, or significant cuts throughout education, highway, and everything. And it would probably be significant cuts in budgets or taxes across the state.
Do we know what Harrison's, the effect Harrison's would have on it?
On Roane County would be nothing because it's over in Anderson County.
Okay.
But we work so close with Anderson County on these issues. We basically keep together on them.
Mr.
Woody.
Mr. Moore.
Mr. Moore.
Just a real quick thing. What about the batch plant on Godhar Road? Harrison's got a batch plant right there on Godhar Road.
Well, that one's not impacted because it's not on federal government property.
So they pay on it, right?
They pay on it. That's
okay.
Correct.
They're just saying what they've got on DOE property.
Yeah. So your UCORs, your UT Battelle. See, UT Battelle. I mean, this is another good example. Our largest taxpayer is UT Battelle. Right. On personal property, on the Oak Ridge National Lab site. If they were successful, that's $1 million.
Yep.
Our aggregate tax in Roane County is about 33 million, 35 million, right off the top of my head.
I just can't hardly understand Harrison, because they use the same truck to work at DOE, and then he hauls a load of concrete south the river, so that's kind of hard. Anyway, that's.
But it would be
just comment.
significant. It would no question be significant for us. And you just think about the contractors that work for TVA.
Any more questions for the county executive?
Yes, one other, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Woody, I appreciate your updates on the health department issues with everything going on. But I've noticed I've had some folks over 80, some even 92, saying that they haven't had a chance yet to receive their shot. Is there some way that we can put these folks to the front if they're over 80 years old, without having to go through this appointment process or something? Some of them don't know about the appointment process, don't have the ability to make those appointments. It'd really be nice if we could make sure our most elderly people are vaccinated.
Well, the long and the short answer to this is state run, state operated, state controlled by answering the phone, state controlled by putting people in the appointments.
Bail next.
Outside of us basically hiring an employee that would sign people up if it was allowed, and I'm not sure it would be allowed because there's some HIPAA regulations that we would have to abide by. I think part of the problem that I've recommended to people is that the state had a software platform that you signed up for. After using it for 3 or 4 weeks, they switched to another platform. And I'm not so sure that people who signed up on the first one, the data was transferred to the second one. I'm not so sure it wasn't either, but just based on what people have called and told us is they've been signed up for 3 or 4 weeks. And from that, and I suggest them go in and sign up on the new platform. Now, that said, there's going to be a third platform that comes on, I think, about the end of February, the 1st of March. It's hard to really pin the state down on when that one is. And I would suggest everybody, again, make sure that you, sign up on that one in case they didn't get transferred over. A couple of things that the county has done is we've got a presence of law enforcement there now. We put a little building out front to protect some of our workers as the the climate's been kind of harsh there, and we put the new phone system in that I think now there's 16 lines, so it kind of rolls over to the next one, at least tells you what your wait time is. So we've improved, I think, what we can do. We were a little disappointed. We heard last week, and Mr. Berry, I appreciate you bringing this to my attention because I don't know when they started publishing it. And I didn't see the full database other than clicking, and you can see what percentage of your county has received the first vaccination and the second dose. And we were kind of lagging the state. I'm not so sure we were 93rd or 94th, but in the region, you could tell we were one of the fewer counties that had vaccinated the least amount of people. Then we got notification from the governor's office on Thursday that certain pharmacists would be receiving the vaccinations, the doses. Some of ours may in Roane County, but they were not on that list. They had the Walmart down in Ray County on it, which we understand because Ray County's been leading statistics of the highest percentage of cases. But Roane County is about 7th of the 9 counties, and we weren't on the list, and everybody else I think was. So it's kind of disheartening. So I know Commissioner Berry reached out to our senator, and I have too, just to say, hey, would somebody kind of look into this and see what our issues are, that we are high risk. We are low dosage, and we are not one of the first to get the pharmacies. So hopefully we'll see some transitions that take place, as something that will change on that this coming week. And I'll be on a call tomorrow with TEMA and Department of Health, and we'll raise those same concerns.
Mr. Bell.
Nothing to add, I'm sorry.
Any more questions for the county executive? Thank you, Mr. Woody.
Thank you.
Move on to special orders. Our number one is approval of surety bond number 32S10035 for Melissa Lane in the amount of $5,000.
Meadows motion.
Motion by Meadows.
Hester, second. Wilson, second.
Hester, second. Mr. Meadows.
Nothing.
Mr. Hester.
Nothing.
And Connie or Mr. Woody, is this an employee? Whereabouts are they at?
Juvenile.
Juvenile. Okay. Any more questions or comments? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Bill,
Bell, aye.
Barry,
Barry, aye.
Brashears,
Shears, yes.
Cunningham,
Cunningham, yes.
East,
East, yes.
Ellis,
Ellis, yes.
Gann,
Jan, yes.
Hendrickson,
Hendrickson, yes.
Hester,
Hester, yes.
Hickman,
Hickman, aye.
Meadows,
Meadows, yes.
Moore,
Moore, yes.
White,
White, yes.
Wilson,
Wilson, yes.
14 yes.
Bonds approved for Melissa Lane. Number two, under special orders, confirmation of reappointment of Travis and Whitney Tilley to the Agriculture Extension Committee. The term will expire December 21st, 2022.
Bell.
Moore, yes.
Hester, second.
Motion by Bell, second by Hester. Mr. Bell.
Great people. Glad to have them.
Mr. Hester.
Nothing, Paul.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner Bell,
Bell, aye.
Barry,
Barry, yes.
Brashears,
Shears, yes.
Cunningham,
Cunningham, yes.
East,
East, yes.
Ellis,
Ellis, yes.
Gann,
Jan, yes.
Hendrickson,
Hendrickson, yes.
Hester,
Yes.
Hickman,
Hickman, aye.
Meadows,
Meadows, yes.
Moore,
Moore, yes.
White,
White, yes.
Wilson,
Wilson, yes.
14 yes.
Travis and Whitney Tilley have been reappointed to the Agriculture Extension Committee. Next one is a confirmation of reappointment of Bert Love to Agriculture Extension Committee. Term will expire December 21st, 2022.
Jan. Motion.
Gann.
White, second.
Second by White. Mr. Gann.
I appreciate their willingness to give up their time to serve.
Mr. White.
Nothing to add.
Anything else on the reappointment of Bert Love to the Agriculture Extension Committee? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Bell,
Bell, aye.
Barry,
Barry, yes.
Brashears,
Shears, yes.
Cunningham,
Cunningham, yes.
East,
East, yes.
Ellis,
Ellis, yes.
Gann,
Jan, yes.
Hendrickson,
Hendrickson, yes.
Hester,
Yes.
Hickman,
Hickman, aye.
Meadows,
Meadows, yes.
Moore,
Moore, yes.
White,
White, yes.
Wilson,
Wilson, yes.
14 yes.
And Bert Love's been reappointed to the Agriculture Extension Committee. Under new business, we go to Resolution 22101, a resolution canceling resolution number COVID-19 CV 19-2, establishing a new administrative leave policy.
Move Moore.
Motion by Moore,
Second Hendrickson.
second by Hendrickson. Mr. Moore.
I will yield that to the county executive. I'll let him, I think that's his resolution, so I'll let him go over that. I understand it, but for the good of the commission. Mr. Woody?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moore, Commissioner Moore. So attached to the resolution is the old resolution. So we kind of did this the way some of the governor was doing their new ones, is just cancel the old one and rewrite it. So the commission approved resolution 0320 CV 19-2 last March. And basically we're saying, okay, we're going to cancel that one and we're going to put this new one in. Well, really what we did is we kept the old one in this new one. We incorporated everything that was passed last March in the new one. And then we added some clarifications. But under one of the bullet points, it basically says, so the intent of the resolution was to protect the integrity of the offices. So as we've had spikes in our cases, various department heads said, oh, listen, what I'm going to try to do is schedule my employees. Some of them can work at home and some of them will stay at the office. So we never have everyone, if they were to contract it in the office, sick at one time. So that's what the old policy was. The new policy says the same thing, but it adds this caveat that if you've received both vaccinations doses, then you're not eligible to work from home, because the possibility of you contracting it and or spreading has been minimized a whole lot. If you have contracted it already and you've gone through your quarantine, you're also not eligible to work from home, because there again, you're in the office. There's a very small probability that you would catch it a second time or spread it. So basically it just takes those two out. And then it says, if you haven't contracted it, but you do, the same thing applies. Once you come out of quarantine, you're not eligible to be working from home. You'll have to be at the office. The other thing it does, it does put, unless it's extended, this automatically ends on June the 30th. The last resolution had no end time, so we knew we'd have to pass a resolution at some point in time to put an end time. This one says, okay, this policy ceases on June the 30th, 2021.
Mr. Moore.
I fully understand that. I'll support it. I think that's kind of keeping the way most companies are doing that right now. So I have no further questions.
And the comptroller's office told us early on that we'd have to have these resolutions approved by our county commission if we were going to do something that was, different in operations than normal.
Commissioner Hendrickson, you have the second.
None further. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Meadows.
Got a question, and this is for Mr. Woody and perhaps Mr. Lefevue. What control does commission have over the employment policies of the office holders? And don't get me wrong, I like this resolution. I'm okay with it, but what real control do we have over them, if any?
So Counselor, correct me if I'm in error here. So my personnel policies of the county executive office must be approved by the county commission. The personnel policies of all other office holders must be filed with the county court clerk, but you all do not approve theirs. With those personnel policies, there's like 5 items that must be covered, and I can't tell you what they are off the top of my head, but they have to be covered. So everyone has a policy. Mine's I am controlled by the commission. I cannot do anything unless the commission gives me authority to do it. So I'm kind of locked in on it. The other elected officials are not. The comptroller's office then governs us by telling us, okay, we're going to be looking at this specifically, we want you to adopt a resolution that's broad enough to cover everybody.
That's
Okay.
correct. Have anything to add? They're independent office holders and they make their own personnel decisions.
Okay, and that's the way I've always understood it. And like I said, I'm for this. I'm okay with it. I talked to a couple of the office holders who would be affected. They're okay with this, but if they weren't, we could really get into a, I don't know if it'd be a power struggle or what, but I think everybody's on the same page. But in reality, this may not have a whole lot of teeth in it, right?
My opinion, and again, it's Ron Wee's opinion only, is that because the comptroller's office is working with them, the other elected official would have to go by this policy unless they filed another policy with the county court clerk.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on 22101?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Berry.
I guess my only question, and again, we've already passed it once. It looks good, but how many folks do we have that have the capability to work at the courthouse from their home? I know because most of the computers would not be compatible for them to work. So do we need to just take that out from working from home? I don't know that many can work from home.
Oh, so all the accounting and purchasing department can, because, everybody wants to pay checks and all vendors want to pay. So we have laptops and we've had some working from home and we call them periodically and we exchange emails because most of all of our folks in accounting and purchasing in my office, we have that connectivity through our computer systems and phone.
How many other office holders do you think though, Ron, can work from home?
Beth's office, for instance, they are hard to. So she's had everybody there. I'll think about all the time. She's a couple of times. She's may have had to put a few, on notice not to come in. But by and large, most offices cannot do a whole lot. That said, the way the policy is written is, if the county's paying you, you must be at home. You must be able to answer the phone call in 30 minutes and you must report to work in 2 hours. So we are restricting our employees because if you were to have a couple of people go down in your office, you may have to bring a few people in on a short notice. So that's kind of the way it's in there too. We kind of coupled that similar to what I think they have done at some of our utility districts, that you got to be on call in case there's an outage. And that's kind of what we did when we wrote that policy.
So then I guess then we monitor it, I guess, by the way the state is doing it is if you come down with the virus, then you're quarantined for 14 days.
If you come down with the virus, this policy doesn't apply to it. We follow the federal guidelines on what happens if you have COVID. This is to protect the integrity, the operational integrity of your office by scheduling employees so you don't have them all there at one time. You're a insurance guy, we're wanting to spread our risk out a little bit. So we're basically not having everybody in the same location.
Yeah, I just looking, it says one of the bullet points says an employee will be available and willing to work from home on task assigned. And I just wasn't sure how many employees we had that had the capability of upstairs, especially in the courts and maybe even in the Madam Clerk's office of how many people would have the ability to actually work from home.
I'm sure there's a lot that would not have that ability.
Okay, thank you.
And I guess what we alluded on before, this will, your office will be governed by that and people under you will be governed by that. This is, I guess, would be sort of a guideline for the other office holders to go by because we can't mandate what they do. Possibly. So, Ms. Cunningham, did you have something?
No.
Any other questions or comments on Resolution 22101? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye. Bell.
Barry,
Barry, yes.
Brashears,
Shears, yes.
Cunningham,
Cunningham, yes.
East,
East, yes.
Ellis,
Ellis, yes.
Gann,
Jan, yes.
Hendrickson,
Yes.
Hester,
Hester, yes.
Hickman,
Hickman, aye.
Meadows, Commissioner Meadows,
Meadows, yes.
Moore,
Moore, yes.
White,
White, yes.
Wilson,
Wilson, yes.
14 yes.
Resolution 2-2101 as adopted. Resolution 2-2102, a resolution to clean up unexpected expenditures in the Drug Fund 122.
Motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion by
Second. Wilson,
Second.
White, second. Mr. Meadows.
Defer to Mr. Woody.
So right quick, there's no property tax in Fund 122. All money that comes into this is restricted. It is restricted by appropriation and on specific uses in the code by the sheriff's department. So this is, the sheriff controls this drug fund. There's no property tax involved. The money has restrictions on it that's set by the state legislators.
Meadows.
Nothing to add.
Any other questions or comments on Resolution 2-2102? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Bell,
Bell, aye.
Barry, Barry,
Barry, yes.
Brashears,
Shears, yes.
Cunningham,
Cunningham, yes.
East, Ellis,
Ellis, yes.
Gann,
Jan, yes.
Hendrickson,
Hendrickson, yes.
Hester,
Hester, yes.
Hickman,
Hickman, aye.
Meadows,
Meadows, yes.
Moore,
Moore, yes.
White,
Yes.
Wilson,
Wilson, yes.
14 yes.
Resolution 2-2102 is adopted. Resolution 2-2103, a resolution authorizing Rome County to submit for the Healthy Built Environment Grant application. Motion.
Hester,
Moore.
yes.
Motion by Hester, second by Moore. Mr. Hester.
Nothing follows.
Mr. Moore.
I'll yield or whatever for a second to, if somebody wants to explain it. I've read it. Mr. Woody wants to go any further with it, that's fine.
So before the county can apply for a grant, we have to have approval from the county legislative body to apply for a grant. This is what this is. It is an approval resolution. If we're acceptable in receiving it, it basically sets the budget up at the same time. There is no match money involved in this. It is a healthy built environment grant. We went back to our planning documents that the commission approved on Park and Rec, and this is to improve the walking trail at the Rome County Park to make it ADA accessible, or at least partial parts of it. This is in no way saying that we'll get the grant. It's just an application.
I'm satisfied with that. Thank you.
Any more questions or comments on 2-2103?
Chair, Mr. Woody, does the Citizens Advisory Board have to approve this application?
Is this to be approved by the Citizens Advisory Board?
No, it didn't have to be approved by them. Most of our grants they look and see if you have a citizen advisory board, but it does not have to be approved nor recommended by them.
Any more questions or comment? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Bell,
Bell, aye.
Barry,
Barry, aye.
Rushiers,
Here's yes.
Cunningham,
Cunningham, yes.
East, Ellis,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Ellis, yes.
Okay, thank you. Gann,
Gann, yes.
Hendrickson,
Yes.
Hester,
Hester, yes.
Hickman,
Hickman, aye.
Meadows,
Meadows, yes.
Moore,
Moore, yes.
White,
White, yes.
Wilson,
Wilson, yes.
14 yes.
Resolution 22103 is adopted. Resolution 22104, this is one of the resolutions the county attorney went over in his report earlier. Resolution authorizing the county attorney to file a suit against HME Incorporated and M3 Fire Apparatus LLC regarding the mini Evo pumper truck.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Meadows, second by Hester. Mr. Meadows.
Well, I'm on the OES committee, and we're, obviously extremely disappointed by the outcome of this purchase, and fully support Mr. Leffy's filing of this.
Mr. Hester.
Same.
And I think this comes as a recommendation from the OES committee also. Is that right, Chairman White? Mr. White, I think we recommended this from the OES committee too, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Any more questions or comments? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Bell,
Bell, aye.
Barry. Oh, look. Oh. Barry. Rushiers,
Here's yes.
Cunningham,
Cunningham, yes.
East, Commissioner East, Ellis,
Ellis, yes.
Gann,
Gann, yes.
Hendrickson,
Hendrickson, yes.
Hester,
Hester, yes.
Hickman,
Hickman, yes.
Meadows,
Meadows, yes.
Moore,
Moore, yes.
White,
Yes.
Wilson,
Wilson, yes.
14 yes.
Resolution 22104 is adopted. Our last resolution is Resolution 22105. Also a resolution that the county attorney covered under his report, a resolution in support of Drug Dealer Liability Act lawsuit.
So moved, Moore.
Motion by Moore,
Second by White.
second by Wilson. Mr. Moore.
I won't go into any further. I think the county attorney's pretty well explained what it is, so unless I'll yield to him if he's got anything further, but I'm satisfied with it. I'll support it.
Mr. Wilson.
No, I think it's been explained well enough. I don't think there's anything to add. I support it also.
Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Bell, aye.
Bell, aye.
Barry,
Barry, yes.
Rushiers,
Here's yes.
Cunningham,
Cunningham, yes.
East,
East, yes.
Ellis,
Ellis, yes.
Gann,
Gann, yes.
Hendrickson,
Hendrickson, yes.
Hester,
Hester, yes.
Hickman,
Hickman, aye.
Meadows,
Meadows, yes.
Moore,
Moore, yes.
White,
White, yes.
Wilson,
Wilson, yes.
I use my girl too.
14 yes.
Resolution 22105 is adopted.
It helps both of them. I'll have to tell them that.
That brings us to the end of our meeting, and it's a question I want to ask again. The city of Harriman has moved their meeting back open to the public. The city of Kingston next month is moving their meeting back open to the public. I know before we had utilized the Harriman High School auditorium, so we can I want to try to get back in person so we can either utilize the auditorium or our courtroom, but we can't do Zoom and in person. It didn't work out too well the last time, so I want to try to get everybody in agreement. Is everybody okay with meeting at the high school? And I'll go ahead and say it, Charlotte, wear your masks if you're there and try to stay 6 feet apart. Is everybody
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Moore.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Moore.
Mr. Chairman, if it's space, could we use the big courtroom or something, meet there at the courthouse? I mean, wouldn't that give enough room for people, and that way we can spread out a little bit ourselves? I'd like to meet in person. I prefer the courthouse. It's easier set up or something. I don't know. That's just my opinion, but I'd like to see you.
We've used Judge Wicks's courtroom before and spread out for public hearings and stuff like that. We possibly could do that, Mr. Woody. I think we could, couldn't we?
I'm just thinking it's a bigger courtroom if we could have it there. I'll do whatever I'd like.
We can do it there. We just don't have the sound system that we have in our courtroom. But I mean,
we don't at the high school.
I'd like to call this Harriman City Council meeting to order, February 2nd, 2021. Before we get started, we'll have a prayer by our Parks and Rec Director, Mr. Charlie Jones, followed by the pledge salute to the flag. Jones.
Father, we do thank you, Lord, for this allowing each one of us to be here today, Lord. We pray, Lord, you'll be at our council as we meet today, Lord. I pray, Lord, that you'll give them the wisdom they need, Lord, to help us here in the city, Lord. I pray, Lord, that you'll just be at them. I pray, Lord, that you'll just be at our city, our county, our country, Lord. I pray that you'll always bless it, Lord. I pray, Lord, you'll be at their friends. We have some out tonight, Lord, that's sick, not feeling good. We pray, Lord, you'll just be at them and touch them tonight, Lord. Be with us today as we have this meeting, Lord. Give us the wisdom we need. In your precious name. Amen.
Of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call roll, please.
Brian Frost.
Here.
Buddy Holly.
Here.
Ken Johnson.
Here.
Kenny Me.
Here.
Sam Russell.
Here.
Lonnie Wright.
I'd like to declare a quorum. Just to let everyone know, we're still under the guidelines of the state, so some of our meetings will be, some of our councilmen will be on the phone with call-in, Councilman Wright and Councilman Meade. So at any time, either one of you councilmen can't hear or something, if you'll just let me know, I'll try to get you maybe tuned up a little bit, I don't know, but we'll try. But anyway, we'll get started with the council meeting. Need a motion to approve the minutes of the January 19, 2021 meeting.
I make a motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second. Second by Councilman Holly. Councilman Johnson. No. Councilman Holly. Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Brian Frost.
Yes.
Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Ken Johnson.
Yes.
Kenny Me.
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes. Motion carries. Motion to pay the salaries. Make the motion. Motion by Councilman Russell, second. I'll second. Second by Councilman Frost. Councilman Russell? No, sir. Councilman Frost? No. Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Brian Frost.
Yes.
Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Ken Johnson.
Yes.
Kenny Me.
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes. Motion carries. Motion to pay the bills. Make a motion. Motion by Councilman Johnson. Second. Second. Second by Councilman Holly. Councilman Johnson. No, sir. Councilman Holly. Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Brian Cross.
Yes.
Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Kenny Me. Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Motion carries. At this time, we will hear from delegations in the audience. Anyone that would like to address this council? Mr. Coleman, you want? Yes. So you council know that's not here, Mr. Reggie Coleman is addressing the council.
Yeah, my name is Reggie Coleman. I'm on the address at 335 Downs Road. I sent a letter, and I didn't want to read that letter, but I'm going to read it, about the property at 120 Hill Street that's been going on for some time now, and it's been I got some pictures here that I'm going to read for you, for this property that's behind my mother's house at 335 Downs Road, and I don't know if this house has been deemed condemned or what, but all I know is there's activity going on from 9:30 p.m. to roughly 4:30 a.m., keeping both of us up. Cars along Hill Street pass, they go up there every 15 minutes. Both my mom and I have seen fires burning. Just this morning, I saw 4 cars up there, 3 people chopping wood, fire coming from the fireplace to a house that has no power, no running water, no sewage of any kind. And I don't know if the house has been deemed condemned or what the status was. I spoke to Wayne about this and he thought it was taken care of, but obviously somebody is dropping the ball fairly hard on this one. My mom's 85 years old, and this is killing her, just to be perfectly honest. My dad, Ron Coleman, I know what he was going through. May he rest in peace, what he was going through when he had to deal with this, and he would be appalled. So being his son, I have to step forward and do the feat that he would probably do and see if something can be done ASAP to rectify this situation. There's more activity going on there at that house that doesn't even have power or is supposed to be condemned at any other activity house in that neighborhood. And I don't know what's going on and why they, why. You would not want this in your backyard for sure. My mother doesn't want it in her backyard at 85 years old, has lived in this community for 35 plus years, and does not deserve this that's going on right now. It's been dropped the ball. It's been over 3 years. I could have probably been here 5 years ago. I already know what the cost is. I talked to my realtor. He has informed me about the taxes that are on there. I don't know how far back they are in arrears, but they are in arrears. And I was told there was supposed to be a court order. I understand the COVID pandemic is a situation that I know that has stopped a lot of things. But there is a temporary court order that could be made to keep these people off this property that are there every night and every morning, and nothing has been done. I heard there was a meeting with the mayor, the code enforcement, the police chief, and the city of Harriman manager, I believe. What has been done, I have no idea, because there's activity on here that shouldn't be. I'll go home tonight and look forward to about 10 o'clock to those cars, regular engines, up Hill Street, past. My mother here says, she said, Reggie, what's that noise? For 3 or 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours. Can't sleep. And something has to be done. You keep these pictures. I submitted that letter. That kind of, I'm giving you just some cliff notes. I can probably speak about this till I'm blue in the face. It's totally appalled me. And that house is despicable. I can't imagine what the sewage there is that we smell during the winter or during the summer when spring hits. It's going to hit again. There is undoubtedly illegal activity going on here, and the Roane County and the city board is allowing it to happen. They are allowing it to happen, And it is sad, sad, sad. You would not want this going on in your neighborhood, so it shouldn't have to go on in the neighborhood behind my mother's house at 85 years old. And that house, because of the way that house is, the terrain is made, my property value is sucking right now. Because that house sits on a hill, and all there, as they say, what rolls downhill, you know the saying, it's rolling down on my mom's property every day.
Council has heard from Mr. Coleman. We have been looking at this issue and working on it for some time now. We have had meetings about it. We have a meeting today about it. I have talked to Mr. Coleman numerous times about the situation. I've been up there twice myself. It's probably the worst place I've seen besides city limits of Harriman. And we've reached out to the codes enforcement or the building inspector for the county. He came over, put some signs on it, they got taken down. So we called him a couple weeks ago after I went back up to the property to make sure the water line was off. It was off. I had HEB come up also as we was up there. The police chief and the captain came up. We walked there. There's people in the house. We run them out of the house because there is no power, no running water or sewer on the property. We reached back out to the county. Did not get a response from the county up until today. And the county official came over today. We sent a crew up with him to the house. They went up and boarded the house up and put signs on it that they're not allowed to be inside the house. Now that doesn't change the property. Until we get the court order, we can't keep them off the property. We are working with we have reached out also to the DA's office. We're working with them to try to get it as loose so we can get them down. But I did talk to the city manager, city manager's in there, but the city attorney in today. We're trying to go a different route. The only thing I can tell you all is this has been going on since the early part of 2019 that I can see from the records that I've looked at. That's way too long. It's way too long for us to be working on it. I think that the ball was dropped more than once on this property. I am going to ask council tonight at the end of the items on the agenda to waive the agenda rule to block that road off Hillsborough Street, to put barricades at the end of that road. There's no other house on that road. I think there's a trailer at the back, but it has no power either, to block that entrance so no cars can come off of Margaret Street and go on to any of those properties. As I said, we keep stopping from going on the property, but the road is a city road and we can temporarily shut the road down, at least until we get this in court and see what the court system says. I hope that stops some of it. Mr. Jones was with the crew when I heard today, and from the pictures that he sent me and the stories that he told me, nobody lives up by their house. There's been no running water or no sewer up there for probably 2 years now, so you can imagine what's outside. And as Mr. Coleman says, his mother has been, I've been talking to her for well over 2 years about the problem. And I know the police department has went up there and sat for hours and run people out and arrested people, but it's not helping. So that's a rough of what's going on. The city attorney's here. She's welcome to speak on the matter. But I know that we've been working since 2019.
Mr. Mayor, is property inside the city?
The house and most of the property is. Now, the back part of the property is in the county.
Who owns the property?
Well, I think that is where the problem was. We had it served in 2000, the latter part of 2019, the other part of 2020. We had it served to a lady that is no longer, she is deceased, that owned the property. Since then, the property, I think, has been, went to someone else, and the problem has been trying to find who owned the property. So to give you just right, I don't think that we still know who owns the property, do we?
I don't have a list of names yet. I followed up with that other attorney who called me back today and said that a couple of years ago she had another case that overlapped with that property, so she did some research on who the heirs would be, and she has a list of about 12 names that she can forward to me as at least a place to start on at the time that was with the heirs. If all those people are living, those would be the property owners. Not that anyone has filed a deed for a probate matter to formally change the legal registered owner, but I'm just waiting on that information to have that list of about 12 names.
And as far as the taxes go, Mr. Coleman, we had looked at it, I think you're correct. I think that the taxes are past the tax sale part, but the problem is they didn't have a tax sale last year, so they didn't sell property last year, so I think that property might have been running under zoning, but because they didn't do it, it still sits there. But
I was about to say, if the taxes are not current, it will go to sale this year.
it will, it should have went last year, but they didn't have the sale.
If no one takes it, bids on it, it falls to the city, if it's in the city. And you can go in and demo the property.
Well, and that's what we got planned to demo it. The problem is we don't know when the tax sale will be, and if they put it off like they did last year. So what we're trying to do is move it faster, and that is why we reached out to the DA. They returned us some houses because of nuisance, and I will send the council list that the police chief got together today, and there's 2 pages of reports that, they're looking up there, what's going on. So the property is a nuisance, but it is, without sending pictures or without going up there, you can't describe it. It is one of the worst I've seen. And I've been around a long time, and I've looked, and it's bad. It's bad that we even have something like that inside the city. The house you really can't see from the road until the tree. Right now you can kind of see it, but when you pull up that driveway or up that road to get to that driveway, it's today we run. What was there, 3 people in there counting today?
Yes, and there was
3 people in there today. They had wood in the fireplace, burning it. And then they had a kerosene heater in one of the bedrooms. So they're definitely staying in it. But it was boarded up today. The notes are on it. That's just going to slow them down. That's not going to stop them. I'm going to take the wood off and it's going to go right back in, and it's going to go right back. So I would hope that we can move this thing. I apologize to you, Mr. Coleman. I apologize to your mom. I wouldn't want it beside my house. And, to be honest, and as I told you before, I know that when I talked to your mom, maybe a year ago, I thought at that time it was taken care of. I didn't really hear anything else. So I thought it was done. And then in the last month, it's came out a lot harder than I guess than it should have. But I don't know what the council can do except for what we've already done. I can,
What may help also was that the chief had the units that, like, tonight, the unit will go by there every 2 hours. We drive up in there every 2 hours to check on it, make sure there's no one that has gotten into the house. So, and if they're parked there, as you know, even if you've got units rolling in every so often, well, that will be, right. That may help some alleviate the problem.
Well, the council approves tonight to temporarily shut that road down, which, and like I said, that road has no use because the house is condemned right now from the county standpoint. If the council approves, on that agenda to do that, tomorrow we will have that road barricaded off where there will no vehicles will be allowed under that road. They will let them move either. That at least will keep the traffic from going in and out. But, a lot of them are getting out of cars, I think, and walking up there. So
How far is it from where you barricaded to the house?
it'd be like walking from here across the street, or maybe over to the hospital.
It needs to be burnt down, that's what it needs to happen to it. I mean, it's ridiculous.
How soon could we get it cleaned
Well, if we're getting reports right now for the county to take to the DA, if the DA gives us permission, as soon as he says we can, we'll move forward with dealing on the problem. Because I expect that the city's going to wind up with the property and protect it. I wouldn't think anybody would bid on that, the way it says. And what we'll do is clean it up and try to save it all our place. But it is probably about, I don't know, there's probably 100 ride mowers tore off pieces in the front yard, 10 or 15 scooters. It looks like a true live scrap yard that went back. So it's, that's the front part. The backyard looks like the back sewer plant that exploded. So that's what we saw. And there again, from the city of Harriman, it should have been taken care of. It should have never gotten this point.
We know another man that, so she never hurt nobody, nice as she can be. She might let it pass just because, oh, Reggie, and she don't want no favors, because 4 or 5 times people would come knock on the door, actually use the phone, kind of nervous, she had fear of her life. And I was there one time when somebody did come by and actually use the phone. Of course, we're not going to let them use it, but that did happen.
The only thing I can say is we will stay in touch. It is boarded up now. If council approves tomorrow, the road will be shut down until those tell us they're going to back up. I would think when they tell us they're going to back up, we'll have the other end also.
Anything you can do, I'm going to appreciate it. So
and I'll make sure that the police department will check on it in 2 hours. And I listen to the standard and make sure when they say they'll do an extra patrol. I've heard them out there quite a bit, but we dropped the ball, and I apologize. We will take care of it. I appreciate you coming and taking the time, and I don't know how to keep apologizing for what you did.
I just appreciate the opportunity to say.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, folks. Thank you, Reggie.
Anybody else like to address council? If not, we'll go into reports. HEB.
HEB had a joint workshop with the City Council on January 25th to discuss upcoming bond issuance requests. And I'm hoping that LA are going to review the resolution for at least the single bond issuance to cover the refunding of old debt and new construction items that were included in the bond anticipation note. And separate from that, we'll talk about the other issue. And anyone that has any follow-up questions from the workshop, please get with me. I'm happy to answer all the questions. We are currently working with the city manager, pricing some materials to install and potentially install the city's old pumpkin lights at the Philipper Park uptown here. And, get some pricing on that very soon. Our gas project we've been talking about for several months. It should be wrapped up sometime in March. We're down to just the last last few items, and then we've got some cleanup things. If you see anything that, you know, think needs to be cleaned up a little bit more that we haven't addressed by next month, feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. Our crews are finishing up installation of water meters. We've been talking about that for several months, but the deadline is in March, so we'll get completely finished with those 3,300 sometime in the next few weeks. And then to follow up that was funded by a CDBG grant. We're really grateful for that, and we appreciate the council voting to allow us to apply for the next round of funding. So we're about to submit an application sometime between now and the beginning of April, and we'll try to get some more grant funding to address water loss. You may or may not have heard there was a fire hydrant damage that's inside the city. It's on Rogers Street, just on Harriman Road. It was actually damaged by the Midtown Fire District volunteer firemen. And it happens sometimes, maybe when they're just shutting down too fast. But we have ordered parts and we're getting that fixed as soon as we can. NRCS projects, and Mr. Jones may have a little bit more to say, but I do want you to know, you may have noticed it when you're driving out this way off to the right. Willard Ford Road, which is the road to our sewer plant, it is just about complete. They may have actually laid the last little bit of rock today. If not today, I'd say maybe tomorrow. I'm expecting a final inspection next Monday, which is the same day that the city has a pre-construction meeting for the Riverfront Park project. Just judging by how our project has went out there, I think your project's going out really smoothly. You do have the added inconvenience of having archaeology to be worked around, but really, I think it's going to go well. We're trying our best to take care of you from a project management standpoint.
Have you been a part of the city things? Nothing goes smoothly for us.
Well, you asked for everybody's help, Mr. Mayor, so we're going to make sure it goes smoothly.
I will look forward to it. Anybody have anything for Skins? We appreciate it. Me and Charlie went out and looked at the road the other day, went out to Willard Ford Road, and I'm amazed at how quick they've done it, but it does look good. It looked, it's wide. Then we come across on the other side of the river and went down to maybe y'all's water treatment plant or sewer treatment plant on this side and parked and looked, and it was it really looks good. So I'm excited to what's going to happen down the park.
It was a real blessing to all of us that the quarry was located so nearby. That saved a lot of money and saved a lot of time. So they averaged about 3 dump truck loads of stone per hour. So hopefully y'all will go just as well. Can't promise you, but we're going to do our best.
It'll go good. Thank you. Jamie, you got anything for the library?
We had to be closed for about a week and a half. And we've done curbside service then, and everything went well. But we were able to open back up, and now more people's coming back in the library for the computer and faxes, copiers, and books. And one other wonderful thing, no water downstairs with the rains we've had, so everything put together, the underground has helped tremendously. We're almost finished with the CARES grant that I received from the state. We have the Wi-Fi extenders in the library, and the state IT people will be here on Thursday to put those in. We will have to be closed to the public at that time. I've been ordering supplies, cleaning supplies for that grant also, and a laptop, which unfortunately they are taking longer to get made and get shipped, so it'll be it's on order, but it'll be like 6 to 8 weeks before the laptop will be here. And that will be for the public. So that will give us another computer along with the 2 other laptops we have along with the regular workstations. The tech grant, the TSLA tech grant, I was able to purchase an AWE after-school computer with it, and those are very expensive. They don't hook to the internet, but they have all these wonderful educational games. We have one at the library, it's preschool. This one is an after-school, so it's more like, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third. It has wonderful math, science, geography, and reading games on there to help teach that. A lot of the STEM stuff is really, really neat. We ordered a printer, we bought a new printer with that too, to go with for the public, and a flatbed scanner downstairs in the children's department. And which, thank you again for the copy, I think it's one. It has a scanner on it too. The top grant, I've had difficulties with it because it is, it's one of more people coming into the library for the coding program. They can do it online, but I've not had much luck getting them to do it online. And then my computer classes, it's just not wanting to hang out anymore with what they have to do. That the year is not completely done with that particular grant, so I'm hoping that maybe before it ends that I can get my computer classes in. And we have 3 hotspots with that one that I have ordered and received. Yeah, that covers that grant. The children's programs are doing good. They're slow, not as many coming in. But I'm hoping that as soon as their number starts going down more, they will fill back up. Connie started working on the children's summer reading program, and Earl Duff, super, has generously offered to donate money to pay for procedures in the process for that, and that's wonderful. And that's pretty much all I've got today. Any questions?
Anybody have anything for Tammy?
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Jones, Director Department.
I'd like to talk to the council about our projects. We'll like to get started at Flower Mill Flats, our baseball, softball field.
Would you speak up a little bit so we can?
I'd like to talk to the council about our Flower Mill Flats, our baseball or softball field. Some work that we had budgeted that we need to get done. The field's going to be used a lot more this year. We got the high school softball girls, the middle school softball girls, and our city league and the church league will be done. We planned to do a lot of work last year, and everything happened like it did. We didn't get to finish the projects. So we're going to get started on it. The council know that we're trying to get some tops on our bleachers. We got some price on them to get all that done, trimmed everything. It's going to be around $14,000. The concession stand to get it redone. Some hardy board on it, get all that done. It's going to be around $3,000 to do that. I'm hoping to get a new sign out front when you come in. That sign's been there for a while. It's pretty old. A couple $1,000 there. But we got the money budgeted to get this done. And I think right now, because I know the middle school, I think they start practicing the 15th. So if we get everything done, our goal is to get a lot of it done by March. And we're trying to get started on it right now to get a plan. I've got some of the trust, from Christmas Lumber Company. Got the price on them, we get them ordered. They take 2 or 3 weeks to come in, but we've got a lot of people. Scott Wynn's helping us on get some work done on the concession stand. My guys have been in, Jaden been working inside the concession stand, putting new windows in, opening it up a little bit. It's looking really good. Been painting there too. So I just want y'all to know that it's time for us to, hopefully work on our fields and get those where they need to be.
Yes, more?
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions about what Mr. Jones does so far? You two councilmen on the phone, do y'all have anything? Okay.
I just want to let everybody know our basketball season started Saturday. We got 18 to 20 teams. We got a couple more starting this week, going really well. We're following all the guidelines. We're having times in between each game, so all the teams are out and coming back in. That's going real well. We started baseball, softball sign-ups last week. Getting a lot of good feedback from that too. So, just trying to get everything started to hopefully open back up. And I appreciate the support of the council.
All right. Anybody have anything for Mr. Jones? All right. Thanks, sir. City Attorney, you have anything?
No, I don't have anything.
Dr. Carter?
A couple things. We are 52.2% collected on property tax. That's a little less than last year. We had like 55.3 last year, 3 percentage points. I did order our salt. Last year we did not need salt, so I negotiated with them not charge us the fee that they normally charge. And so that saved us $7,500 last year. But we did go ahead and buy our allotment this year, and that will be delivered probably within a week. I believe that's it.
Anybody have anything for Dr. Carter? All right. City Manager.
First of all, I'd like to recognize Parks and Rec Director Charlie Jones and Natasha West, who did a tremendous job putting together a virtual newsletter. It was a year-end newsletter that sort of recapped everything that the city had done through 2020. That link was emailed out to council earlier today, where you can access that. It was also posted to the city's Facebook page. It's a month-by-month account of the numerous activities that have gone on throughout the year. And so I encourage citizens as well to go to our Facebook page and find that link and take a look at that. It's when you stop and look back at the year, it's amazing at the number of things that have taken place in one of the most difficult years that we can imagine, trying to work our way through with the changing rules and regulations, trying to navigate the COVID pandemic. So that's a great piece of information that they put together, and I appreciate that greatly. With regard to the USDA City Hall project, we do have a pre-bid meeting on February 4th. That is for the roof replacement and for the HVAC units. The bids are scheduled to be opened on February the 11th, and so we anticipate having that coming to council at your next council meeting to award low bid to whoever that vendor turns out to be. We'll also be meeting with the architect on the 4th prior to the pre-bid meeting to try and wrap up the blueprints for the interior renovation so that we'll be able to follow shortly thereafter with bidding out the interior work once the USDA engineer has reviewed and approved that. On the Transportation Alternatives Program grant, which is the sidewalks and lighting on Brent Street from Crescent to Georgia, we have submitted our preliminary design plans to TDOT. They have responded back with some comments, so we're currently updating plans with the comments that TDOT had included, and we'll be sending them back for review and hopefully approval this time to move to full design of that project. On the Margrave Drive project, the mayor and I had a Zoom meeting yesterday, is that correct? Yesterday afternoon with Commissioner of Transportation, Senator Yeager, Assistant Commissioner, and Director Borden for Region 1. As part of that conversation, they had approved, they notified us they had approved a request that we had made to use our FY22 federal highway dollars towards completing the Margrave Drive Carter Street project. We were a little short of what we needed to complete that project. We received that notice in writing today. It has been submitted to local programs in TDOT. They have started the process of obligating the funds for the project. That takes approximately 4 weeks, and then at that point, we'll be able to put that project out for bid as well. We have also recently submitted 2 grant applications. One was sent out to council probably about 6 weeks ago. It was a National Historic Grant, and we submitted an application to do preservation on the structural work that needs to be done at the Temperance Building based upon the structural engineering report that we had done in 2018. And that grant application was in an amount of $150,000. It is a very competitive grant, and they said for us to expect it to take about 6 months for them to make notification of who would be awarded those grant funds. We also made an application for the Historic Heritage Grant, which the state administers. We've received that on several occasions in the past. It's been used in the Temperance Building several times. It was also used when we developed our historic district guidelines. For this particular project, when the state came in and did their review of our certified local government status, which is done, I believe it's every 4 years, they were very complimentary of the work that the Historic Committee was doing, the Historic Zoning Committee. And the one thing they really recommended that we do is update the survey of the various structures within the historic districts. And this particular grant can be used for that purpose. So working in conjunction with the Historic Zoning Committee, we submitted the grant to try and get funding to update that survey for both the Central Business District as well as the Cornstalk Heights Historic District. So that was in an amount of $25,000.
Does anybody have anything for the city manager? Anyone of you councilmen on the phone have anything? No. All right, thanks, sir. Any other committees come before this board? We'll go into the agenda. First item, discuss and possibly approve quote for demolition of the walkway across the alley at the old hospital building. As we talked in the last meeting, the IDB allotted $10,000 for us to match that with $10,000. The quote that we had over a year ago was right around $21,000. I'll let them fly out there. Yeah. But we had it re-quoted and went over, and myself and Mr. Helms and Councilman Russell went over and met with an individual with Rick Cox Construction. That's who bid it last time. They looked at it, and we told them what we wanted done as far as the tear out and everything. The price came back in at $9,495 total. So I'm not real sure what went on, but anyway, the price to tear that out is $9,495. We have been given $10,000 from the IDB for this, so that won't be the money we use, but it is going through the city, so I guess that's why we went. So Need approval to accept the price from Rick Cox Construction of $9,495. Motion by Councilman Johnson. Second? Second, Councilman Russell. Councilman Johnson? Councilman Russell? It's long overdue. Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Brian Frost.
Yes.
Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Kenny Me.
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, discuss and possibly approve benches, receptacles, and planters for downtown. That's another item that we approved. We set some money aside in the budget. We talked about the last couple of years about adding new benches and trash receptacles and planters in the downtown, where they all kind of go with the lighting that we had put downtown. You all have a picture of it in your packet to look at. That is kind of what was come up with. We showed it to the downtown merchants. They like what it looks like stuff, but it is a black, like wrought iron look. So we had put $19,900 in the budget, and you're asking to approve to spend up to $19,900.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. So you need a motion to spend up to $19,900 to replace the receptacles, planters, and benches in the downtown section.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Frost. Councilman Johnson.
No.
Councilman Frost.
No.
Floor is open for discussion.
I think it'd look really nice having it there, especially the benches where people can sit down and rest. So,
Call the roll, please.
Brian Frost.
Yes.
Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
yes.
Kenny Me.
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, discuss and possibly approve budget transfer for purchase of a police patrol car. Gavin, this is you.
What we're requesting, the police department still has several Crown Victorias and Dodge Chargers in the fleet that older, have a number of miles on them. Repair, maintenance costs on those are greater than the rest of the fleet. We had initially wanted to request in the original budget the purchase of an additional vehicle for this year, but we took a very conservative approach because of the COVID situation, not knowing how it was going to affect our revenues for the upcoming year. But we are 6 months or so through the year, and revenues are doing well. So what we are requesting is approval to purchase an additional vehicle. We are not requesting for council to appropriate additional funding. What we're requesting is a transfer of funds from two line items to be utilized for the purchase of the vehicle. That would be $3,000 that would be coming out of the animal control budget, which we are saving because that is now being done within the police department. And there would be $33,000 that would be transferred from the line item that was budgeted for our inmate crew, and they actually only worked about 2 months out of this year, and the inmates have not been out, so we have not spent that funding, and we have it available. So with that, the $3,000 that the police department has available under DRMO line items, it's already budgeted within their department. would be enough to purchase one additional Explorer for patrol. So that's what we're requesting approval for.
So the total price is 39.
Equipped is right at 39. That's lights, radio, everything that goes in there. And Captain Owen is here if you have other questions. He's more familiar with the package and what goes into the vehicles.
Let's see if we're going to get a motion and say, put it on the floor for discussion. Motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second.
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Frost. Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Frost. Yes. Floor now is open for discussion from council members.
Is that just one Explorer?
Yes.
The 2020 model, wasn't it, when they had the big price increase? Yes.
Is this a 2020 model or 2021?
This one's 2021, but from 2019 to 2020, I think it was about $6,000 that they went up.
Any other? Did you hear that, Cap?
I've heard part of it. We actually have 3 Crown Vics and 3 Chargers. And the Chargers, they're 2016, so they're about 5 years old. And one in particular, well, 2, we spent quite a bit of money out of our maintenance budget on this year. And the gas mileage isn't very good on those either. Our goal is to get those and maybe eventually the Fords off the road too. But those Dodges are really eating us up in miles.
So the Dodge is what, you're going to take off the road, one of the Dodges?
Probably.
Put this on the road?
Yes, sir, that's what we're looking at, taking one of those off.
I know, looking at the bills every month, it's $800 for a Charger, $300 and $400, and it's every month, it's $300, $400, $500, $600 to spend on the Charger.
Yeah. Now, see, one of the Chargers last week, we got to put a new engine in, but we've sent in over the canine officers using it now, so we may have to keep that. But the other 2 have been really costing us in the vehicle maintenance.
Councilman Lee, you have anything else?
No, that's not good with that, yeah.
Councilman Wright, you have anything?
No, sir.
Any other council have any comments? So the motion is to spend $39,000, up to $40,000 on a new vehicle for the police department. And that's having light sirens and everything like that. All right, have a motion and a second. Call roll, please.
Brian Frost.
Yes.
Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Kenny Me.
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, Captain.
Yes,
Next item, discuss and possibly approve expenditures for repairs at Flour Mill Flats. As Mr. Jones just talked to y'all about, those are the repairs I think that they put in the budget this year to do down at the ball fields. What is the total amount you're asking to spend?
Right now, 20,000. About 20,000.
So Parks and Rec is asking to spend up $20,000 to revamp the ball fields, to get them up to par. I don't think they spent any money last year on. Motion to approve. Motion by Councilman Frost. Second by Councilman Holly. Councilman Frost. Councilman Holly? All right, now the floor is open for discussion. So it's basically what you told us up here and what's in our report as far as redoing the buildings, revamping some of the fields, and getting the ball field up to par.
That's all we're thanks.
Are you talking about the small field?
No, I think it's just the two bigger fields right now. I don't think that includes the small field, does it?
We've got some more money in for that later. We'll work on this one for right now, then we'll move over there probably next month.
That's basically just for the bigger fields, and revamping the building up there. We have an engineer, we've got an architect engineer coming in.
Come in Thursday.
And we're meeting with them with HEB down at the Littlefield to find out about the water, to see if we can reroute it or what we can do to the water to get it off of that field.
Okay, I missed that, because I thought we'd done all that with, Matt, Bill, field up, and then something to bitch last year, they're talking about it.
Well, and we did talk about it, and I think that we had decided that we was gonna go that route. Well, then it didn't get done, and everything got pushed back. And since then, the water's got worse on the back, so, what we're gonna do before we spend any money on doing that was to get with, an engineer or somebody, and we reached out to HEB, and they got in touch with someone, and they're gonna get us down there to look to see what we can and can't do down there. But there's still money in the budget to do that. Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Brian Cross.
Yes.
Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Kenyon Me.
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number E, we're tabling, or we're putting off until the next meeting. You all got that in your report until we get some more information on it. That is all on the agenda. As Dr. Curley says, thank goodness, because we spend a lot of money on that. So we gotta get taxes.
Look, it's been a whole.
But that's all we have. We're going to, that's not all we got. I'd like to ask council to waive the agenda rule to discuss the 120 Hill Street, to discuss maybe shutting that road down temporarily with some barricades until we can get something done through the court system. A motion to waive the agenda rule. Motion by Councilman Wright, second by Councilman Frost, Councilman Wright. Councilman Frost.
No.
Floor is open for discussion on waiving the agenda. All in favor of waiving the agenda, rule aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. All right, all ayes. As you all heard Mr. Coleman talking, it is a bad situation. There's a lot of activity going on up there. I don't know exactly what activity, but there's a lot of activity. So I'm asking council to give us the authority to go up there and to, not permanently, but just temporarily, barricade Hill Street off. As I said, there's no houses up there that it will affect, and it's just until we can get in the court systems to do something with the house. Motion by Councilman Russell to barricade. Second by Councilman Johnson. Councilman Russell. Councilman Johnson.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. We've got to do something about that. I mean, I know I wouldn't want it by my house. With the DA and him can kind of work on something pretty quick and get that taken care of. That's all I've got.
Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Brian Cross.
Yes.
Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Kenyon Me.
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Motion carried. At this time, we'll hear from council. Any comments? Councilman Russell?
No.
Councilman Johnson? No, sir. Councilman Wright?
No.
Councilman Meade?
That's
Councilman Cross?
No.
Councilman Holly? The only thing I've got is to just elaborate a little bit. There's a lot going on right now with the city. We've got a lot of activities going on with grants, with construction, with tear down. Just to let you all know, we are moving forward with the temperance building, as we've been talking about. Kevin is working on some stuff. We'll get with the temperance building committee, as I have met with Kevin numerous times to talk about some funding. We do have a little bit of money in the budget, and I'd like to get with the temperance building committee and meet over there and see, kind of explain what we're looking at, what we want to do to try to get the building ready to move forward on redoing. We walked through it last week, and we had a member of Rick Cox Construction, like Shirley, would just walk over and go through it with us. The main thing is looking at engineering group, the drawings and stuff. I don't think we have drawings. Do we have drawings? Okay. So we're gonna go through those, but we'll be setting a meeting up with the temperance building committee and get something started on that. And I think that's all I've got. If nothing else needs to come before this council, motion to adjourn. Motion by Councilman Russell, second by Councilman Johnson. All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Thank you.
Now call the town council meeting to order.
Robert Miller. Jeff Bass.
Here.
Kenny Brown.
Here.
Jason Stilton.
Here.
Jeff Denton.
Here.
Thank you, Robin. We got a quorum.
Okay. Raise and salute the flag or whatever you want to salute you want to use. Ready? Attention. Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Tiller, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Yes, sir. Father, thank you for allowing us to come here and meet. And Father, I just ask that you would give us wisdom and knowledge and guidance through this meeting, and may the Holy Spirit be present in our lives and lead, guide, and direct in all that we do. Father, we come to you on behalf of our nation, new president, new administration in place, and Father, we just ask that you give each and every elected leader wisdom and knowledge and guidance as to lead this country. And Father, again, thank you for the responsibility of leading the people of the town of Oliver Springs, and give us, again, wisdom and knowledge and insight to best do that. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Approved minutes of the last meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Ask Jim. Is there any discussion, corrections, deletions? Call the roll, please, Jim.
Jeff Bass.
Yes.
Kenny Brown.
Yes.
Jason Stilton.
Yes.
Jeff Denton.
Yes.
Passed 4-0.
Okay. Excuse that phone call. Okay, we need to approve the minutes of a public hearing meeting that we had on January the 19th. Myself and the chief and city manager was here in attendance, and that was the only attendance. So with the minutes should state that no citizens are here to have a hearing. So the hearing is dismissed. Call order dismissed. Okay, get all that?
Yeah.
You need a vote?
Well, I need a motion in a second.
You need a motion?
I didn't hear one.
I'll make a motion. Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? I know several of you guys weren't able to attend, and, but when we do have those, if you're at all able, you can sit here if you can.
Jeff Bass.
Yes.
Kenny Brown.
Yes.
Jason Stilton.
Yes.
Jeff Denton.
Yes.
Passed.
Okay. Any citizens here tonight? No, we have none, and that's probably a good thing because of the virus. My update would be that we're going to start
again, a goal to get some of the wrecked cars and stuff off the road and houses fixed or repaired or whatever. And the Oliver Springs Town Charter, Chapter 13, page 1315, has got the instructions on there if anybody wants to know what will happen. But normally a car lot or a mechanic shop or a body shop, etc., is going to have no more than 10 cars outside. It's not in work, and we got that problem across the street, and we need to correct it first probably and start setting examples for that. Then we have one out on Boulevard that's in real bad shape, so we'll try to do that as legit as we can, but with the first notice will be 2 weeks to do it, or 10 days, clean it up, or get some kind of order going, and then we'll take the procedures that follow that are not good. Can be fines or up to $50 a day, which will be each occurrence. So we just encourage people that might be watching this to please police around your areas, especially garages and places that's got cars that's not moving. And that's about all that I can say right now. The picture you see in the city manager's handout was with me and Buddy Sharp. And I don't appreciate that picture because it's a little age over it. Be kind, Kevin.
Yeah.
But that was our last payment for this building. And I comment now that we had the building for a 10-year payoff with no interest and no down payment. We did have a down payment, but with no interest loan for him, personal loan for him. He financed the building. So we appreciate that. And we got a good deal. We just need more room, but he's got storage next door, so we can store over there. But we thank Buddy for that and his wife. Okay, the other things are, if we ever get help, we know the city streets are, especially the boulevards, hard to keep policed up. Places like Widmark Road, I think we got somebody doing East Spring Street, right?
Yes, sir.
Edison County inmates is handling that for us, and the Sheriff's Department, we're going to try to get Roane County Sheriff's Department had a Roane County Old Harriman Highway and maybe him down the road. But there's a lot of litter out there, and we apologize for that. Everybody's been real good about not complaining about the sighting of litter, but we know it's there, and we'll do our best to, if you see some real bad call, we'll send somebody out to pick that area up. However, we did do that on the boulevard up here between the bridges, and the next morning it was about the same shape it was in the night before, the day before when we cleaned it up. And it was about a pickup loaded there, so I think sometimes it's intentional, so don't get caught doing it intentionally. It's a heavy fine. I think up to $500. Is that correct, Chief? For litter? Okay. And if we find somebody that's doing it intentionally, we'll go for the max. We'll see what the judge rules. But that's about all I have, sir. You're up, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, the pothole repair contract is underway. We're meeting with Professional Asphalt next week as our first kickoff meeting to give them our expectations and tell them how we'd like it done. We'd like each pothole square cut so it looks professional, and attached to the list of all the roads that we're going to give to them to have done. If y'all know of any other roads or you see any roads that aren't on this list, please call me or text me and I'll make sure that they get done. Also, we had a Tennessee OSHA inspection, and attached is the letter that I have sent in that is within the time frame specified to have the response completed. We have fixed everything that was wrong. It was basically the library. There was a fire extinguisher that needed to be inspected. At the shop, there were gas cans that needed to be replaced. A plug had reverse polarity. A grinder had the wrong guard on it. We replaced it. An angle grinder had its guard taken off. We replaced it. And we did the HAZCOM training. And in here is the detail of everything that was done and actual copy of what the training looked like that we got done. So just want to give you all that for your information. And other than that, that's all I have.
Okay. Any questions for the city manager? Or for me? Either one, I'm sorry. Okay, Mr. Bass, you're up.
How are we doing on the
I should have Paul brought up the water board, but on the water protection fixing.
Okay.
We're crossing the streets and making the cuts in the road for the water lines.
It's going slow. It's going slow. We're still hopefully optimistic that he'll be able to finish in time. The date has been moved from March 7th to March 22nd of his deadline to get all the work completed. He has around, with the addition of extra work, around $397,000 of work to get done. He's gotten some 6-inch water line laid. He has another crew that's coming down to help finish the work in 2 weeks from now. So we're hopeful that he'll be able to get done in time. We're putting pressure on to make sure that gets done. I've also made a call to the attorney's office, and I'll be talking to him this time, Tuesday. That's when he's going to call me back to find out what happens if they don't get done in time, because we will have a recourse if they make us lose our grant money. So it's going well, it's going slow, and
He was primarily checking the work that's already been done on the pavement, right? Is that what you requested?
He's talking about the water loss program.
The water loss program, all the, they're going through, they got to cut the road,
Yeah.
all that, so.
We're not covering a lot of it. I think
They're gonna bore all of it, jack and bore all of it. And there's about 70 service lines they're gonna replace, and hundreds of feet of water line they're gonna replace, and they have until March 22nd to get it completed. So fingers crossed, they'll get done.
All I've got.
Okay, Mr. Brown.
A couple things. Have you got anything to tell me on this curve out there at Hardee's and the Raceway gas station that where?
I'll find out about it. I haven't asked about that in a little while. I'll see what their progress is.
I mean, nothing's been done. I mean, it could be dangerous if somebody is not familiar with that coming out of the gas station.
Okay.
And there's a big hole out there, needs to have something to block it.
All right. I'll get it looked at.
And
You know what he's talking about, Chief?
You know what I'm talking about?
Do we need a cone or anything?
The one now?
Do we need to put a cone in on it or anything?
I haven't looked at it lately. I don't know if we need to cut a count on it or not.
But it's there, right? I mean, a big drop if somebody don't make the turn just right.
I think it's a culvert.
No, it's for the culvert.
It's for the culvert, man, it drops off. It drops off like 3 feet.
We gotta put a barrel on it.
Yeah, about 6 barrels up.
Maybe in a concrete
One of my guys found it.
form poured around it, but somebody must have hit it. Appears to be down in the thing itself where they've hit it. And if you ain't careful when you come around there, especially if somebody's cutting in on you, and you try to get out of their way, you could be down in that ditch.
Something like Ace Hardware used to be.
Yeah.
Till we got it.
I know somebody done something out of Ace Hardware in that ditch.
I got it a long time ago. I haven't done it recently.
See, well, they tried to clean it out, or they pulled the truck out of it or something.
Take a pull the truck out and run it.
Also, down on Henville and Parnell, that school bus now makes that turn there.
Yes, we fixed that before. Is it back again?
Well, they made their own path. That, 30-foot bus that never had come up, just drove from the other street up that road, now it turns on Parnell. In the morning and the evening. And when he makes his turn, he's almost in the ditch.
Is he picking anybody up there?
Oh yeah, there's kids on and off the bus coming and going, or they wouldn't be taking that.
Okay.
But they did put some asphalt in there, a little bit of patch. But when that bus is coming through there making his turn, he's made his own path in the mud, and
okay.
he could be in that ditch if he ain't careful. Whereas we need to go in there and either dig it out and fill it back up and asphalt it where he's got a something to make the turn, because that bus won't make that turn on that street. And if they're going to, if that bus is going to do that, we need to make him a path or something that's more secure than when he makes that turn, wider.
I'll take a look at it and see
A wider deal.
Is there a culvert there? There's not a culvert.
There's a culvert there, but
They did extend the culvert.
well, it's covered up.
They cleaned it up, covered it.
No, I'm just saying, that where the road is and where he makes his turn, it just, he don't want to go that much to the left to make the turn. He wants to hang to the right. And when he does that, and I can't condone him for that, but when he does that, then he's right in that turn lane right there in the mud. And you can tell he's made his own path. And it's upside water hydrant. And
Yeah, we've been there before.
like I said, that bus did come and come up Wiley, and then come up that Hen Valley Road.
Yeah.
But evidently, there's no kids down there now on that street, so he started coming up Parnell in the morning and in the evening. And when he comes in the evening, he makes that turn, that bus is like that. So it needs to be shored up for safety of the school bus and the kids. And, you know, it's a Roane County bus, so we may be able to get them to do something to help us if they can run those buses on the road. It's not wide enough for one car, much less a bus.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
I appreciate it. But other than that, that's all I got. I appreciate it.
Mr. Tilner?
How's the tax collection looking for the city?
It's coming along pretty good. I've been looking over the budget, and everything is coming in right where it's supposed to be. It's been really,
So we're still,
surprising.
I know they asked us to be 10% under, but we're still trending 8 to 10% over?
Yeah,
Good.
we're trending pretty well.
What's the status of,
Last time I looked, it should have been at 58%. It was at either 62 or 65, I can't remember percent. Overall,
Good.
all revenue in.
We had that last meeting back in somewhere.
So that was just on one sales tax.
Yes,
local sales tax over the
Roane County
overall.
bus in here.
So even court was trending at 55% of funds coming in when they haven't had court in forever. I guess people are just paying tickets, I guess.
They're still coming in and paying under their release to pay, and plus paying tickets both, so.
That was the one thing I thought, it's gonna nail it is court, because court's actually a revenue source for a city, you know.
For sure.
It's sadly, but it is. But it's, even that's coming in a little bit below. I thought it was gonna be 0, but it was coming in 55, and it should have been 58, because you got 7 months into 12 months, if you divide that, you get 58%, which is what it should be this time period, and it's coming in okay as well, so fingers crossed, nothing changes.
Good deal, good deal. What's, and I'm sure probably we won't get them for several months, but what's the status of the prisoners, Morgan County?
That's based on when everybody starts getting their vaccines, and I think that's not gonna be until way past summer for
sure.
Okay. For them.
So we just need to pretty much expect that we won't have them for at least 6 to 10 more months then?
Yes. Now, I will say this, Buster Jones has been doing a very good job. I want to commend him on all the hard work he's been doing. He's really blended in to be just part of the staff and do his part. He's been really pulling his weight, doing his fair share, so I'm really proud of him.
Yeah.
And I'd like to compliment him on that.
I ran into him right before my injury and at Ace Hardware and was talking to him and I told him I appreciated everything he's doing and thanked him for his switching roles, so to speak. So what's the mowing schedule for this upcoming year, since we probably won't have the prisoners? Do we have a plan in place, or?
Yeah, we do. Well, it's about the same plan as it was last year. We're going to have Roane County, Robert Sparks, and his crew do the cemetery, and that takes a big load off of us. That takes about 3 days for us, about 4 hours for them.
Wow.
If they'll continue doing that for us, that'd be excellent. They've agreed to, so we're very excited. We buy them lunch. That's the payment, that.
And Buster assists them.
And Buster does assist them with that. And in that role, sometimes he'll mow, sometimes he'll help guard the prisoners. So it's really good for them and good for us. Then our men will do the 4 lanes with the grasshopper mowers that we currently have.
Did we purchase a new mower recently, or?
Yes, we bought a mower exclusively for the cemetery that was a small 32-inch deck to get in between the tombstones.
Okay.
Yeah. That eliminated a lot of weed eating.
For sure. Okay. And I feel kind of silly asking this question. I was at another city, local, looking at a tree job, and I just noticed that they had a gravel supply, a sand supply, brine for the roads. They had culverts, and I know I should go over to where the city equipment is. Do we have stockpiles of that, or do we pretty much?
I guarantee you ours is not as impressive as theirs probably was, but yes, we do. We have a couple, we always have gravel, we always have some salt. I think we used up the last of our salt during the last of the snow, but we mainly use brine anyway. We have a trailer that has totes on it that has brine in it, and it has pipes that come out that spreads it on the road, and they'll hook that up to a truck and drive it around before the snow hits, so it won't stick to the roads. But the salt is used, of course, as you know, after the snow's already here, like when snow just doesn't stop. But we did use up the last of our salt. I've been in contact with Tony Brown, with the county, with Roane County, or with Anderson County.
Roane County.
Roane County, excellent. To see if we could borrow some. I've also contacted a salt vendor off of the state contract, and I don't think they have any left right now, but they haven't really got back to me either.
Sure. Okay. We could probably get some plans to kind
We could
of have
borrow
it,
some.
their supply allows it, probably even Knox County.
Yeah, in Anderson County, Tony Brown, he normally uses brine anyway. They put brine down everywhere, and we have access to that as well. One of their storage tanks is at our facility.
Okay. We have a good relationship with, we meet with by TV or the monitors that are on our desk or with telephone with mayor, city manager of Anderson County, and he's the Roane County mayor. He's not the mayor, but what's his title?
Executive.
He's executive, Roane County executive. He's good. And we did meet with our mayor, city manager's son, but not as often as Anderson County. We were meeting weekly with Anderson County, now we're doing it because of COVID, then we're doing it every 2 weeks. And we're getting all the information updated on COVID, we're getting all the information up that they can help us with or we could help them with. And most of the time it's them helping us, because some like Roane County is, every city in Roane County has got a better tax base than we got because of the hotels and motels.
And when you do go to the shop, around the back is where those bins are. It's undercover. It doesn't look the best, but it covers.
Still got some cleanup out there, Mr. Brown, but we'll get it done one day.
That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Are we working on a grant for controls for the stoplights? Or not?
Oh, for which?
For the red lights out here.
The red light out here is.
Oh, that
scheduled.
one, that's different. That one
February,
is,
that's
that's
a
a
contract,
T-dot.
wasn't it? Sometime this month they're letting the contract on that.
Tomorrow.
It's already been engineered.
Tomorrow.
Really? Yeah, for this red light out here to be approved, yes.
I
Third
thought you
lane,
meant-
stop, underground cabling, and center, et
Yeah,
cetera.
they're gonna get rid of the line and put big cast arms, and it'll be very good. It's getting bidded and opened tomorrow, but that's through T-Dot. They'll handle everything. We don't even have a match on it.
Right on.
We get involved in their meetings by telephone sometimes.
Uh-huh.
Other than that, they send us emails about it.
Somebody had asked me about that.
Yeah, it's there, it's coming done.
All right,
It's
that's
been
all.
approved sometime, they just had to change. Had a hard time engineering because couldn't find a gas line or something out there.
Yeah, something.
Took forever to get a
It's
gas
like
line
It's like a
located.
year behind.
But I don't know if that was a natural gas or what type of line gas I never looked for.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Moving right along. Mr. Chief, you're up.
I'm good.
Chief is good. The fire chief is not here, but I think he's in pretty good shape. Old business? Any old business? He brought forward. New business. A, discuss and approve amendment to ordinance 2009-17A. It was a typo from R1 to C1. It should have been R2 to C1. And I have a blank copy of that, Joe, with signatures and the map. You did it, but, that's for Mr. Wood's property up here on Saltwell, across the garage, put the 2 cabins in.
I'll make the motion.
It's always been R2, but there's typo, said we changed it from R1 to C3, whatever.
I'll make the motion, please.
Second.
So this is a correction. You got a motion, you got a second. Any more discussion? Anybody want to see the map on it or anything? I happen to have one here. We have one in the part package too, I think. Do you want to see one, Jeff, or?
No.
Okay.
Jeff Bass,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Stacy Stiltman,
Yes.
Jeff Kent.
Yes.
Passed.
Item B, the city manager will comment on, I'll read it. Discuss and possibly approve 2021 CDBG application for a resolution to hire the engineer and a resolution to hire the grant administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Every time we do a community development block grant, a CDBG grant, there is an engineer that draws it up, and there is a grant administrator that follows all the paperwork, and that's what this is approving to hire them. It's all paid for as part of the grant as well, so it's all part of that.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second, any more discussion?
Jeff Bass,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Justin Shelton,
Yes.
Cliff Branch,
Yes.
Bass.
Okay, that completes, unless somebody's got one more thing, I believe that completes the meeting.
I've got one thing.
Okay, go ahead.
On this calendar, there's a mistake on it.
Uh-oh,
I know.
I proofread it,
And
I'm
it's
sorry.
on, you're fine. It's on May. That holiday in red goes down one more. If you notice, one of the days was left and it didn't. So,
That's the one they got now, the one.
This was,
the one I gave you was corrected. It was on your desk. The one that was in your packet is wrong. So I did a
the
reprint.
one that's laying up here is good.
No,
Yeah.
no, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. That one, that's May 24th.
It is not on May 24th. It is on May 31st.
Oh, wait a minute.
And actually, the whole calendar was wrong.
Nah. Is it?
Yeah,
Oh, God.
on the calendar that.
Maybe I did proofread it.
On the calendar, it's on the other one, it shows the 31st being on Sunday. And on this one, it shows it being on pavement day.
It's always on Monday.
No, the date's not always on Monday, the holidays usually on
Well,
You got your own? I mean, it actually shows that.
Well, you got all it, did you see it when it's talking about?
well, here's the reason why. It's missing the,
It's in the whole day.
it's missing the days.
So this is no good.
So just wanted to let y'all know, sorry.
Let me ask you a question right quick while we're out here. Is there any thought about how we should consider canceling meetings based on the COVID infection rate? Or do we want to just continue to go like we've been going?
The first part of the question was what? I'm sorry.
Do we want to discuss and have input as to how to decide to cancel meetings in the event the COVID rate is considered to be too high, or do we just want to continue doing what we're doing?
I think we need to coordinate it maybe a week in advance with both county executive and county mayor, and then see what the governor comes out with on his.
It's hard to put a criteria because it's so fluid,
Yeah.
but I thought if you gentlemen had some kind of input,
I would recommend letting it be the mayor's discretion.
well, that's what it is now.
Yeah, that's what it is now. What we do, we judge it by both the other counties,
Yeah.
not Morgan, because we have very little in there, into there.
Ron and Anderson and
But we do have citizens in Morgan, so we should keep them included.
That's kind of lot.
I think like a week in advance, we make a decision whether we're gonna have it or not. Sometimes it might be a bad decision, but.
Yeah, because sometimes employees come down with it and technically I'll be quarantined, so I shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And it's kind of strange
You
though.
still have to be flexible.
That's actually happened twice. I've had to, I was quarantined, but I was an essential worker, so I had to come to work, but wear a mask. So.
Since you're the recorder, Joe,
It happens.
you and I and the city manager are having a team effort on that.
That's kind of how it's been done, because I've
I
been
know it
trying
has
to
been.
feed you information that I get from Tennessee Supreme Court about cancellations, and I gave y'all a copy of the Keplinger, first page of the Keplinger newsletter, about how the Keplinger people, they're investment advisors and have a business magazine.
Yes.
And they were basically saying that it'll take a while for the virus to kick in. And speaking from memory, I've highlighted that. And they figured by September, we ought to be to a certain extent back to normal, subject to the fact that if we get another round of modified viruses, we may not, the current vaccine may not cover that, and we might not have immunity to them. So, they don't know either. That's their best guess.
Well, we'll try to put the notice out, but maybe on your TV and not a week, minimum week in advance. To the council, we'll call them, each one of them, we'll call them a telephone, I guess.
Yeah.
And each council member. But we'll put it out to the general public. They notice probably in post office, bulletin board, and we might have to put an article, we won't have time to put it, yeah, we would.
Now, the way we've been doing it,
We will have to have a proper notice,
the
so.
way we've been doing it currently is that the mayor is informed, the mayor will make a decision, and I'll call everybody, and we'll do like a poll test, make sure everybody's okay with it. Do y'all want to change that and have it just be that the mayor decides that it's too bad, no meeting, then everybody's just going to be good?
Well, you and I
okay
always
with it?
talk about it anyway.
Yeah,
so,
we do, we
yeah.
meet all
We
the
work-
time.
we-
I'm fine with
we
it.
work
If the
together.
mayor decides we're not gonna have a meeting, that's fine.
And I'd point out that the Tennessee Supreme Court in December, I'd originally had court scheduled, but, city court scheduled, but I got 2 circuit court cases scheduled today. Rare has happened, but it did on each Friday in December, so the circuit court's superior to the city court, so I had to cancel those, and that was back in September, October. And then it was fortunate because the Supreme Court of Tennessee canceled them for December and January, and so I had to cancel January's. In the middle of January, the Tennessee Supreme Court canceled in-court hearings for February and March. So the City Court of Oliver Springs has not met in December, January, and February due to the virus infection. It's not necessarily that I call the shots, it's the Tennessee Supreme Court put down an order that canceled all in-court hearings unless it's a constitutional right or an emergency like a domestic abuse or setting bails and stuff like that. Now, having said that, we do have seizure hearings and search warrant hearings because there's not a whole lot of people involved. So right now, we've got this prohibition by Tennessee Supreme Court, and they may extend it into April or they may not, we don't know yet. We'll probably know the middle of March. So I share that with y'all because if we miss a meeting, it's probably because we have these other agencies like the Tennessee Supreme Court that may have knowledge of information that we don't.
So Governor Lee opened up, for high school attendance and basketball games,
Yeah.
et cetera.
Yeah, TWSAA opened up.
It's lifted, and so we never did put a restriction on that
Yeah.
one, just what was.
So, you get conflicting thoughts because TWSAA opened the gymnasiums and whatnot up somewhat. Tennessee Supreme Court has still shut down their courts, so it's somebody's best guess.
And you all know, if you got something that needs to be talked about, you can call the city manager or myself. But we can't talk about anything, I can't talk about anything that's gonna be voted on. He can talk to you, but
Yeah,
not
I can
about
talk
those
to you.
things. He's
And
allowed to
as a
talk to you.
footnote, maybe Jason Stilton, city manager, but the rest of us are all high risk because we're over about 60.
I'm barely.
I'm
58,
Oh, I'm sorry, you're close.
But I have high blood pressure, 1 kidney,
Well,
I've got the trifecta.
yeah, you're in high risk, and Jason may be with his surgery there, and
Yeah,
he's
he is.
continued.
I'm sure he's.
So see,
that's
that's,
happening.
at that point, everybody here takes a risk by coming down here above what others.
For instance,
might
if
have.
either one of us tonight checked positive, even though we wore masks, we'd be restricted.
So anyway, we're trying to conduct the business of the city and stay healthy too.
We'll work it out by phone or communications some way, send the police around with siren at each house and say, come outside, come outside, come outside, I can't get out of the car. But no, we appreciate the cooperation we get from the community and you guys, and Mr. Murphy called in today, he had his shot today, and he didn't feel real good, so his age is like mine, he's old enough to, he don't want it. And Mr. Miller had something going on with him also, so that's why they're not here. There's no sense, if somebody's not feeling good or something, you don't want to expose everybody else to it. Is that it? We need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved. Got a second?
Second.
Everybody stand, we'll be adjourned. In favor of, if you want to adjourn, just, you see him, we'll sit back down.